Players booting up, excited to see what Todd and crew brought from PC. Dual sense buzzing in hand, this ship's about to land. Game loads in, what a surprise. Can't believe I believed those lies. The game runs great, I'm losing myself. Todd blessed it like a Holy Ghost, but then it crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter all hopes and dreams without delay. Breaking hearts, but he'll still run away with your money, your hopes, your dreams, and then Starfield will just go and crash again. It crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter. It was said that Luke was too mean, that Todd's tales would soon be seen to be true and honest and clean and pure. But it turns out the port's just a pile of manure. It crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter all hopes and dreams without delay. Breaking hearts, but he'll still run away with your money, your hopes, your dreams, and then Starfield will just go and crash again. It crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter. Oh Todd, what the actual hell is wrong? Oh Emil, someone do something. It crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter all hopes and dreams without delay. Breaking hearts, but he'll still run away with your money, your hopes, your dreams, and then Starfield will just go and crash again. It crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter. It crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter.
And now for one more song, because I'm totally not trying to eat a burrito before we start. Thank you. Thank you for your consideration in this matter. Continuing.
Years have gone by, Xbox done fried every chance they had. Now it's just bad. Could have changed the game, giving PlayStation a bit of blame. Push them to be better, lived up to the letter. Showed them X marks the spot, but just like we thought, Xbox wasted years, brought us all to tears. Prices shooting high, brings a tear to my eye. Games just get delayed, man, they could have had it made. But now it's on Asher, oh Asher. Xbox needs your help, years of mismanagement. Old leaders face banishment. Now Asher can rescue it, unchange it, snap it, fix it. Asher, oh Asher, you're our only hope. We pray that this is real and not just cope. Please save the brand and look us in the eye. Say you're a real person, not just another AI. Everything became an Xbox thanks to Sarah and Phil. Audience hated it, they'd had their fill. Starfield was boring, Call of Duty still blows. Fable looks great, but will we get it? Who knows? But now it's on Asher, oh Asher. Xbox needs your help. Years of mismanagement. Old leaders face banishment. Now Asher can rescue it, change it, snap it, fix it. Asher, oh Asher, you're our only hope. We pray that this is real and not just cope. Please save the brand and look us in the eye. Say you're a real person, not just another AI. Asher, we've been waiting for oh so long for someone to come and sing a different song. We're tired and sad, but you can give us hope. Prove to us and that it's not just cope. But now it's on Asher, Asher, Asher. Xbox needs your help. Years of mismanagement. Old leaders face banishment. Now Asher can rescue it. Change it, snap it, fix it. Asher, Asher, you're our only hope. We pray that this is real and not just cold. Please save the brand and look us in the eye. Say you're a real person, not just another AI.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Welcome. 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 How are you guys? Everybody feeling good? Everybody doing good? Hopefully. The Asha song needs a serious remake. You might not be wrong. Yeah, probably fair. We'll see. They haven't announced the layoffs officially, so we have time. Okay. I have a number of things, of course, we got to talk about today because, of course, I kid you not, it's like a meme at this point. Yesterday, I had a flight, and the joke in the community, among us, our community, is that whenever I travel or am on vacation or anything, that's when GTA 6 stuff happens. And sure enough, while I was on the plane, Rockstar tweets out, pre-orders for GTA 6 will officially begin June 25th. So I'm on the plane and I have that like crappy plane Wi-Fi where it's like, you can load one web page every 10 minutes. And then I see this and it starts loading like a frame at a time. It was torturous, but it ended up being okay. But yeah, I mean, this is insane. 567,000 likes. What? It is a little crazy. We've come full circle. Are you looking for a publisher? We think your game could be big. So yeah, they dropped that. We also got a little sliver, but I want to look at like a different angle to this because obviously like the trailers look cool and all of that. I want to look at something else, which is the fandom being totally insane. So we'll talk about it and we'll get to it, but it's a good time. I won't be excited till I see kickboxing. Well, that was in the trailer, so probably a pre-order for 60. Most of the predictions now are coming in at 70. There's some people thinking 80. I honestly, no matter what it's priced at, I'll be like, yeah, makes sense. If they go to 60, that would be the best thing I think for the industry because it's just like a big middle finger to everybody. But let's be real, they're not pricing it at 60. 70 is the minimum. I'd say 80 is more likely. And then they could get away with 90. I think 90 would be really bad for the industry, personally, but we'll see. I think also, like, I do think a lot of people are thinking that if you raise the ceiling to just like full on 90, that then everybody follows suit, right? So like over time, you raise the ceiling so it goes to 60 and then 70 and then 80, or if you raise it all the way to 90, people think that like, okay, then at each of these stratospheres, this is like the AAA standard, right? So if this is 70, or we'll say 70. This is 60. That this, like, each floor is or each price hike is the new standard for AAA. I don't think that's what would happen, personally. Because what I think will happen is if, say, GTA 6 is priced at 80 or priced at 90, I don't think, like, your standard AAA Ubisoft game priced at 90, I don't think that sells, personally. I don't think so. Because the standard raised, So people are going to be like, okay, if I'm going to pay 90, this needs to be on the level of GTA 6, which is like a $3 billion game. Do you really want to put yourself in that category where the standard is that high? Instead, I think the average game would actually stay and stick at these lower price points. The games that would be really screwed are the sports games, like FIFA, I guess not FIFA now, FC, Madden, like those, NBA 2K, those are all going to whatever the max price is, without a doubt. But as for like standard AAA stuff, I don't think it would be that affected personally. When has it ever mattered what we think? I think a great example of when it did matter what we quote unquote thought, and when people voted with their wallets was like Star Wars Outlaws. Star Wars Outlaws or Outer Worlds 2 is another great example. Outer Worlds 2, people forget, but that game was revealed and they were going to charge $80 for it. Outer Worlds 2. You remember this? You remember this? Where's I just need a trailer. Give me a trailer. Oh, MK Ice and Fire just posted the whole game. Okay, sure, that works. They were going to charge $80 for this. That's what was revealed. They priced it at 80. And then they got bullied out of it because pre-orders were non-existent and people were like, what are we, no, like, what are we doing? No, you can't do that. And I think it's going to be similar if they try to go to like 80 or 90 as the new standard. People are just gonna be like, no, I'll just wait for a sale. Like, this is one of the big things that's happening right now in the industry that you cannot ignore. Games and industry analysts have talked about this at length. So this is far from like my idea, okay? This has been talked about by many people who are way smarter than me. Nowadays, when you are coming out with your game, you are not just competing against the current AAA stuff. Like, you're not competing, say you launch a AAA game this year, so Black Flag Resynced. You're not just competing against that game to the other AAA stuff like Forza that already came out this year, or other games that are coming out later this year like Blood of Dawnwalker, which more on that later, or GTA. Like, you're competing with the last 5 years of AAA stuff. And it's really, I think, in large part due to the sort of plateauing sounds worse than I mean it. But I mean, games don't really feel like massive leaps anymore, you know? Like, it used to be when you go from PS3 to PS4, it was like this massive leap in quality. So when you went from Uncharted 3 to Uncharted 4, it was like, oh my God, you know? Now, or like The Last of Us to The Last of Us Part 2, or you go from Assassin's Creed 3 to AC Unity, and it's like this massive leap. Now it doesn't really work like that. A lot of games feel much more like in this range where, like, yeah, they look better, the worlds are bigger, load times are shorter, like they are technologically more impressive, but it's not the same massive leap. And so what that turns into is now people are like, hey, if I have to wait a year to play your game, to play it on a deep sale, I'll just do that. My back catalog is already insane. And so they'll just wait. They'll just wait. And that's kind of what we saw with Outer Worlds 2 is people are like, yeah, $80 for that? I was interested. Now I'm not. So I'm going to wait until it's on deep sale, and then we can talk, and then I'll check it out. Or, you know, it's on Game Pass. I'll just get it on Game Pass. Or with like, it's the classic Ubisoft problem where everything they put out is 50% off within 6 months. So you just wait 6 months, get it for half the price. And let's be honest, it's probably going to run better and look better. Like,
Chief
why
Adam
rush it?
94 donated $19.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Instead of closing down Ninja Theory, why doesn't Xbox just repurpose them into an in-house mocap and animation studio for all Xbox first-party studios? This could maybe
lower budgets and improve development timelines. They could. The thing is, like, I've listened to some interviews with people that are at different studios, and being a support studio is very different from being a like development studio. It's different talent. It's a different production pipeline. You also have to rework the other studios that they will be supporting into accepting that kind of help. So while I understand what you're saying, like, let's say, oh, Ninja Theory now does motion capture, so they can help elevate the cinematic quality of Elder Scrolls 6. It's like, okay, but then you have to like overhaul the creation engine to be able to take in the motion capture data they have and to be able to utilize that. And that's going to take a year or two of coding and rebuilding different things. And it's easier with like a unified engine pipeline and framework like Unreal Engine, which is why a lot of studios do that. Because in the case of big multinational companies, you can have that type of help. Like for Black Flag Resynced, they were talking when I was in Singapore about how they didn't do the motion capture for the new scenes. They didn't do that in Singapore. They actually recorded it in Toronto. Black Flag Resynced new scene. We looked at this the other day. Health to the Company, this one. So like this scene that is like fully motion captured, brand new, this whole thing, they didn't record in Singapore. They recorded it on the other side of the planet in Toronto. And then that data was transferred into the engine so they could use it in Singapore just fine. But that's because Ubisoft has spent years building out the Anvil engine to be able to do stuff like that. I don't think, because Microsoft stuff and Xbox's stuff is so splintered, like, you know, id Tech has different tools than Bethesda has for tools, and then Activision has for tools. And so it's just not that simple, I think, which is what complicates it, unfortunately. And the other piece is, let's just be totally real. A lot of people don't want to be a support studio. Like a lot of the talent wants to make games. They don't want to just do support stuff. And when you're trying to hold on to talent, and with like Ninja Theory being a fairly small team, it's possible that you just start losing the talent that makes the studio worth having if you transition them into a support studio. And then it's like, well, then why are we keeping them open in the first place? So I understand what you're saying. But just logistically, it's trickier than it may initially seem. And beyond that, there's also just financial considerations that we don't know about. So like, for example, Ninja Theory may have debt. Ninja Theory might have obligations to certain, like maybe the lease they have for their office space is really expensive, but they're on a 5-year term and stuff like that. Like there's always stuff that we don't know about that could complicate this further. And it gets to a point where it might just make more financial sense to shut it down and then just open a new motion capture studio somewhere else, you know? And that's the other piece of this too, is that where you are, like location is becoming more and more and more important, because it's so freaking expensive in a lot of these places, like San Francisco, London, Montreal. They're very expensive places to work and to live. And so what you're going to see, and you already are seeing, is a lot of those studios being downsized or shut down. And then new studios are being opened up in cheaper places, because that's just how it works, you know? Because just to survive in San Francisco, you might need to pay somebody $120,000 a year. But if you open that same branch in Austin, Texas, you can lower, maybe Austin isn't the best example. It's cheaper now than it was 5 years ago, but you know, you open it somewhere else that's cheaper, you can get away with paying them 75% of that. Maybe 80,000 is enough. And so it just, you know, there's so many moving pieces to this. That's the point. It's complicated. Vietnamese, thank you for that one as well. I always thought that Gears, Halo, Forza, and the other are the pillars of what made Xbox, the former Xbox Live experience. When the new CEO hopped in, I thought she understood that. Maybe she does. And that's why the big reset. I'm going to say something that is probably controversial. Okay. Buckle in. Okay. Don't cancel me. Cancel me. I don't care. That's my opinion. I think some of Xbox's biggest IP were big 15 years ago. They are not that big anymore. If you look across the whole industry, okay, not just hardcore console gamers, okay, or hardcore PC gamers, if you look at the whole gamut of all gamers, the average gamer sees Master Chief and says, oh, it's Halo from Fortnite. Okay? That's what the average gamer says when they see it, okay? It's not to say they couldn't get there or get back there and rebuild it, but that's where they are right now. And I think that it's from years of mismanagement. It's from a lot of stagnation. It's from a lot of missed opportunities. But like we even saw it, like the Splash. I wonder if I still have this bookmarked. I probably do. They track the discourse and dialogue around reveals and game drops and stuff. And the discourse surrounding all of the games that were revealed this past like 2-3 weeks is concentrated in a few big games, but far and away the game that generated the most discourse was like God of War Lao Fei. You could say it was for good reasons or bad reasons, but like here it is. Top 10 best performing Summer Games Fest by covered, watched, and discussed. The terminology here is that they track benchmark competitors, discover creators. They track VOD views, streaming performance, press coverage, creators, community sentiment, all in one place. And these are similar tools as what we used when we did New Game Plus, the showcase, of course, New Game Plus. We use data analytics tools like this where they can pull video views, tweet impressions, everything from across the internet all together, so you can get a feeling for what is generating conversation, right? It's really useful data. And that data showed that the top 10 best performing games of SGF, this like period, so not necessarily just the showcase, but like that window, was God of War Lao Fei, Zelda, Resident Evil Veronica, Wolverine, Gears is there, then Kingdom Hearts, Persona 6, Final Fantasy 7, we got Spyro, Until Dawn 2. But these are the games that generated the most discourse, the most energy, I guess. And you could say maybe some of it was negativity. Maybe some people were like, oh, I don't like Lao Fei. It's still discourse. It's still generating conversation. No such thing as bad press, right? So when I look at this, like, yeah, we have Gears of War E-Day. I would expect this being one of the pillars of Xbox. I would have thought that this would be like a little higher personally, but like that's the only thing from Xbox's lineup that really has a big splash. I know Persona was revealed there, but it's not really Xbox, you know. But I think that this is just the thing. Like right now, PlayStation has marketing deals. They do a lot of work with, of course, building hype and making each game feel like a real beat and a moment, and that's been something that Xbox has struggled with. And I think they could build themselves back up, but they've got to like get these games like Gears of War E-Day, like Fable, and they have to foster them and take care of them and preserve them and find a way to make their releases a moment, a big splash. And if they can do that, it'd be great. They'll do wonderful. But that's been very tricky for them so far. So going back to what you said, which was they're the pillars of Xbox and the former Xbox Live experience, is that maybe part of the reset why they're doing it? I think that Asha has realized, as has pretty much everybody else, that Xbox struggles with identity right now, because when everything's in Xbox, nothing is. And so if you want your platform to like be a brand worth having, you've got to have a very clear identity that comes with big titles that people associate with it. Mascot games, you know, Halo absolutely could be that. Gears absolutely can be that. I think Halo for a very, very, very long time was, but Halo has been mistreated for like 20 years. And so it's not anywhere near in the healthy position it could be if it had been properly maintained and taken care of. So, you know, PlayStation has too many mascots. They've got freaking Astrobot. They've got Ellie from The Last of Us and Joel. They've got Kratos. They, of course, have, like you could say Jin Sakai from Ghost of Tsushima. Like they've got Of course, Aloy is their favorite. But they've got a whole roster of people. You see them and you immediately think PlayStation. Xbox, they've got Gears, they've got Halo, and those for a very long time were those. But again, when you look at the average gamer, not just people that have been playing games for 20 years, I don't think that recognition is on the same level at all. My buddy Caleb tells the story of how he was in, like, I think it was a Walmart, and it was around Halloween, and they had Master Chief as a costume. And he literally heard a kid point to it and say, "Look, it's Halo from Fortnite." Like, that is what that kid's probably now, like 13, 14, 15. That's the target demographic. Like, that age range is the target demographic that's aging out of Roblox, aging out of Fortnite, and they need, like, you want to hook them into your ecosystem, whether they go Xbox or PlayStation or both. And that's who you got to hook. But they haven't been able to do that in a while. So I think that's the big thing. Blasphemy, yeah, but that's how a lot of kids look at it. And it's, I mean, you can try to explain it any which way you want, but at the end of the day, there's still a problem. Like, you gotta find a way to appeal to the next generation of gamers, because that next generation of gamers, they're ripe for the plucking because they've only ever grown up on Roblox. So they don't have an allegiance to a console or to a platform. They can go either which way, but you got to hook them with games that really excite them. And that's why I look at it, and I know that there's a lot of discourse where, like, Roblox is going to kill the industry and Fortnite's going to kill the industry because everything's just going to become about the everything games and the platform games. I'm not as concerned with it. I think, as with many trends, gamers grow out and move through different phases. So I think, they have played a ton of Fortnite and Roblox growing up, but I think if you give them really good games and a console that doesn't cost as much as their car, they will get involved with console gaming. They'll mature into it. I do think that will happen. But again, you have to meet them where they are and welcome them into the fold. And where they are is in a spot where they can't afford, like, a $1,200 console. They can't afford a $3,000 gaming PC because RAM is so expensive. Like, they need more accessible hardware, and they need games that really excite them. And that's something that is doable, but you got to nail all of these moving pieces and moving targets at the same time, and that's obviously difficult. Real gamers don't play Fortnite and Roblox. I'm sorry, I find it really funny that you wrote road blocks. So I believe you when you say that you don't that you don't play Roblox. Dude, I recently got the chance to speak to, like, a summer camp. They asked me because they found out I was a YouTuber. I knew somebody that was involved with it. And so they were like, "Yeah, would you like to come talk to these?" I think they were third graders. And they can ask you questions about being a YouTuber and what you do for work. And I was like, "Sure, that sounds awesome. I'd love to do that." And so we went, they asked a bunch of questions. It was very adorable, very sweet. But there were like 4 or 5 questions where people, like these third graders, were asking me if I had played different modes and different games in Roblox. Like, one of the kids made a reference to God of War. One of the kids made a reference to Fortnite. One of the kids made a reference to what was it? It was funny. I was like, "How do you know about that?" It'll come to me. But like, more questions were centered on Roblox, and that's like, we can laugh at that. We can be like, real gamers don't play Roblox, but like, the next generation of gamers is playing it, and you can either be like, "No, stay out of here," or welcome them in and show them this universe of games that they've never seen and never experienced before, which is what I would encourage you to do, because the only way to keep the industry healthy is to bring more people into the fold, raise them right with these games, welcome them in, but you got to acknowledge that that's where they're coming from. And so their frame of reference is like living, breathing games, live service is the norm, free updates constantly. Like, that's the normal. Yeah, entry level gaming, literally, yeah. It's entry level. Just like for the generation before them, for a lot of them, it was like Minecraft was the entry level game. You started with Minecraft and then you grew out of that, moved into the next thing and next thing. I think it was kind of, well, it was probably Fortnite, and then Minecraft was the entry game before that. Prior to that, it was, I don't know what it would have been. Like, honestly, it might have been like Halo or Call of Duty or something. But my point is, you gotta be willing to welcome them in and introduce them to a whole new world. WoW, yeah, maybe WoW. Mario Kart, yeah, Nintendo. I guess that would have been circa like the Wii era. So probably like the Wii was a really good entry console for a lot of people. I can see it. Club Penguin, yeah. Yeah. That's the thing is, again, we can poke fun at, make jokes about Roblox and everything, but dude, their player counts are ungodly. Like, it's ridiculous. 9 months ago, they hit 47.3 million concurrent players, the highest ever recorded on a gaming platform, beating Steam's 41.2 million peak in March. Roblox literally had more concurrent users than Steam. Okay. It's not a world we know. Not a world that we know, but it's huge. It's huge. How many AI players? We're all AI players. Insert something about a simulation. There was somebody, I saw a clip of a podcast, and it was a dude who's gone so far down the AI rabbit hole that he's like, everything's a simulation. Everything. It was like the most uncomfortable thing ever. It was funny. I should have saved the clip. It was funny. Speaking of funny, I just saw this. I didn't know what to do with it, so I just bookmarked it and figured I'd share it. So you know how there's like turns of phrase, and then we'll talk about GTA. You know how there's like turns of phrase where it's like, punch me in the tooth and call me a donkey. That looks great, you know, just like a saying or something that doesn't really make sense. Well, you can look up on Wiktionary, the free dictionary. You can look up the term, and you can also look up synonyms or synonym phrases. And this individual found one that made me laugh out loud. I just wanted to share with you. So have you heard the term butter my butt and call me a biscuit? I've heard that in the South. I've heard people say that. So I've heard that. Butter my butt and call me a biscuit. That looks great. You know, I've heard that. Interjection, butter my butt and call me a biscuit. Southern U.S. colloquial, an expression of astonishment upon learning something unbelievable, chiefly something positive. So you see something great. Look at the next trailer for Gears of War E-Day. Butter my butt and call me a biscuit. Right? That's how we'd use it. There are some synonyms though. Slap my ass and call me Judy. I haven't heard that one. Before, but I might have to use that. Slap my ass and call me Judy. Another one. Slap my ass and call me Sally. Just in case Judy wasn't doing it for you. Slap my ass and call me Susan. Okay. But my personal favorite, I don't even know what this is supposed to mean. Dip me in honey and throw me to the lesbians.
At Allsword donated $19.99 through Super Chat. I believe all press is good press is an outdated sentiment. Negative press only helps when the accusations are false. Dozens of games fail after AstroTurf campaigns and toxic positivity
with tens of thousands of likes. Well, to be clear, fake engagement is a whole separate question, because there is some of that happens, or and it can go both ways, right? Like I'm going to leave this on screen. If you have sort of artificial negativity and artificial positivity, it throws the whole equation out the window, and you can't really tell what's going on. Like I would say Hogwarts Legacy. I don't think that the people that were upset about Hogwarts Legacy, that were calling for boycotts and stuff, they were never Like, I don't think they were in the gaming community. They were outside, right? They were like, they were clearly passionate on their stance, but I don't think that they were the target demographic. They were never going to buy it, which is why it still sold like 35 million copies, right? Or 25, whatever it was in the first year. So in that case, I would say it was not necessarily artificial, but it wasn't meaningful, or what would the term be? It wasn't statistically significant. The demographics that were upset about it were not, they were outside the group that would actually be buying the games, right? In the same way, you can have people that are like, this game is boss, man, this slays, but they were never going to buy the game anyways. And so there's a lot of positivity around a game, and then it flops because they never bought it. It's kind of two sides of the same coin. So absolutely, that can complicate it. The no such thing as bad press, I do agree, is often extremely reductive, and it's one of those sayings that's just like, it's overused. So I do agree that there are certainly cases where there's bad press. But I think when we're talking about trying to make a splash, trying to generate discourse and conversation, it's more just about general conversation. How that converts and stuff can depend, I think clearly, but it also depends on platform. Like, discourse in the gaming space on X is extremely toxic. It can also be, but then like if you go to Reddit or if you go to a Discord server, it can be extremely over sampled for positivity because they literally like ban and block messages that are negative. So you have to balance it all out. I agree. So I think we're on the same page. I agree with you. It's overused and doesn't mean what it's often used to mean. But in terms of tracking general sentiment, that's just what they do. Let's see. Ask the Island Boys how bad press is going for them. Dude, I've seen a couple clips pop up on my feed recently, and it's just always so sad. It's just always, I'm always just like, guys, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Luke, did you see the official Highguard YouTube channel deleted all their videos, says Mason? No way, really? No way, really? Well, dip me in honey and throw me to the lesbians. You're telling me they deleted all of their... Hold on. Someone who just came into stream and didn't see the part right before that is probably so confused right now. What did he say? Hold on. Let's see. Welcome to Highguard. I don't see their YouTube channel anymore. Highguard. What was the name of the studio? Not Firewalk. Firewalk. That was Concord. Do you guys remember what the name of the studio was? I've already forgotten. I blacked it out. Maybe they just deleted the whole. It was at Play Highguard. Highguard. Welcome to Highguard. Oh no. Okay, it is here. You're right. The website's down. Yep. She gone, dude. She gone. That's wild, man. End of an era. End of an era. Highguard servers will go offline forever soon at 11 a.m. There's just enough time to get 1 to 2 final matches in. That's wild. Well, there you go. There you go. This whole thing is absolutely insane. Just to like remind you, it has been barely over 6 months since it was revealed. And in that time, it has released, been shut down, the company's gone, and everything is getting scrubbed. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. It was innovative, though. Was it? I mean, it was innovative in that it generated a lot of discourse, but I mean, going back to the conversation about no such thing as bad press, I think maybe Highguard is an example of when a lot of discourse can give you something that would be extremely difficult to get otherwise, but it still is not just like the end all be all. For Highguard, I know a lot of people gave them and Jeff like a ton of crap for how they revealed it and everything. And I do think it was a mistake, and it generated a lot of negativity because people just didn't understand why this was the final show finisher and stuff. But I do think that if Jeff had put it earlier in the show, their all-time concurrent player peaks would have been in the hundreds. Like, I think nobody would have played it. It would have been instantly forgotten, and it would have shut down regardless. Because I think that most of these games live or die based on the quality of the game and based on fun factor and whether they can retain players. And at the end of the day, it's about execution. Highguard got the biggest like boost of any game like this in recent memory because of the constant discourse and the confusion people had around it. And a lot of people tried it because they were just curious. Like, what the hell is going on? But it failed because the execution was poor, because the game wasn't good enough to retain players. It's what always drove me crazy when people were talking about it. Like, well, you should have just given Highguard a chance. It's like, bitch, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? People did. People did. It peaked at 97,000 concurrent players on Steam alone. On console, it was even more. And instantaneously fell off because the game just wasn't good enough to hold them. That, like, it really is not that complicated. They had over 1 million players. Like, it just wasn't good enough to keep players. Trying to blame the community for being confused that how you marketed it never really made sense to me. It was a bold play, bold choice, but they chose to do it that way. But I think it's probably more than anything, Highguard is just a tale of overconfidence, and I think being out of touch with the broader gaming community, really through and through. Like, the reason why I find this whole thing fascinating, the Game Awards 2025, I'm going to look up our reaction to it, okay? Our reaction to it. Let's see. At the very, very end. This is live. Look at my face, dude. This, like, everybody's reaction was live. We were all on the same page the moment it was revealed because we just didn't understand why Jeff was talking this up so much, you know? But like, they acted as though it was some sort of like carefully orchestrated negativity campaign or something. And it's like, no, people like, we just didn't think it looked very good. Like, just take this in again. Okay. There's people in the front row.
You know, sometimes our last reveal at the Game Awards is a teaser for something years and years away. But not tonight. Our final world premiere comes from 61 members of the team that built Apex Legends and Titanfall. 4 years ago, the principals founded a new independent studio with the hopes of pushing the shooter genre forward with a new original game.
This is so weird knowing how this story ends. Like,
they've done it in complete secrecy, which is even more amazing because the game is very deep into development.
Turns out nobody knew about it. Nobody talked about it because nobody cared. You know, it wasn't that interesting.
The power of independent, self-published studios to push this medium forward is a growing and I think positive theme in our industry.
And this is where I will defend Jeff. I do think he legitimately was trying to help them. There were some connections were attempted to be made. Basically, like, there were claims that because Jeff, I'm going to chart this out. Okay, we're going to chart it. We'll do it live. So there were claims that Tencent, okay, they give money to the Game Awards because they do like paid advertising. They'll put like an ad for one of their mobile games or for one of their games, and they'll pay that into the Game Awards coffers. Tencent was funding Highguard. Okay. And so then Jeff is in the middle G-Man, he's in the middle, and so he's technically benefiting from Tencent indirectly, going through the Game Awards, sponsoring stuff. So he benefits from Tencent. Tencent is doing this. And so people thought, oh, well, then Jeff helping out Highguard must be because there's sort of like a backdoor deal going on where Tencent's paying him. The reporting after the fact is pretty clear. No, Jeff just legitimately liked the game. It's one of those moments where it's like Occam's razor. You're trying to choose the answer that has the least variables. Sometimes it's reduced to like the simplest answer is the best. That's not actually what it is, but I think if we're looking at the two options, he might have legitimately thought it was really good and hyped it up because he thought this is a small indie studio, brand new. They let me try the game early. I think it's good. I had fun with it and I want to help them. So I'll make it like this big final splash. The theme of 2025 Game Awards was like indie small studios, independent studios are the future, blah, blah, blah. So it fit with the theme. Let's do that. I'll help them out. There's that explanation, or it's like secret hush money from Tencent and backdoor deals to make this happen, which to be clear is like illegal. Okay. You can't just do that. The FCC, or it's against federal regulations or whatever, but you get what I mean. You can't do that. So what's more likely? I think it's more likely he just legitimately liked the game. And this follows in line with what we heard from a lot of like influencers that went to the event. Shocker. They didn't invite me, but I knew people that went to the Highguard event that said that they actually had a good time with it. They had a really good time with it. But there was a big difference between what happened with the influencers and what happened when the game launched. The influencers got like an hour-long deep dive of how the game worked. They got a full presentation on the game mechanics, strategies they should be using. They got like a crash course in how to have fun with the game. The same type of thing that Jeff probably got before he tried the game. And it turns out when you got that, you had a better time with it. The average gamer, when they installed Highguard for the first time, didn't get that and were just left confused and left like, what is happening? You know? And they didn't have that much fun with it. Still a problem with the game. The onboarding experience was poor. But I think that when you look at the whole suite of options, the simpler explanation is the one that makes more sense to me, which is just that Jeff honestly thought the game was really good and was trying to help out what he considered to be a small indie studio. Even though later it was revealed most of their funding was coming from Tencent, it's not clear if Jeff knew that, but I think he was trying to help them out legitimately and ended up... and I do think he did. Again, I do think that the game would have launched to 300 players if Jeff hadn't done this. But because he did this, it launched to 100,000 players and 1 million copies downloaded. It was free to play, but 1 million copies downloaded. He did legitimately seriously help them. But yeah, I think the game failed because the game wasn't good enough to be successful. It's not that big of a deal. But I want you to just stare at my face. I want you to watch the reaction.
And so tonight, you're not only going to get the
revealed.
announcement of the game, but also your first look at the gameplay. I've played it, and after you see this trailer, I think you're going to want to as well. Welcome to Highguard.
Okay. So like we thought instantly, I was like, oh God. It's the haircut, dude. It's the haircut. It's always the haircut. But this is the thing. From the moment it was shown off, we were like, is this Titanfall 3? Is this going to be something crazy? We didn't know what it was. The world's our oyster. It could be anything. World could be anything. But then like we saw it. And again, the trailer wasn't that great. And later reporting after the fact would come out showing that they apparently threw this trailer together very, very quickly. The head of the company said, we threw it together quickly because their plan, before Jeff decided he wanted to help them out by doing this big reveal at the end of the Game Awards, their plan was to shadow drop it out of nowhere. They wanted to do the Apex Legends thing because they thought that worked for Apex. It'll work for us. Their plan was to just drop it in the middle of January, sight unseen. And that's why the trailer, he said, the head of the company said, trailer wasn't very good, didn't do a lot to communicate what the game was even going to be. Because our plan was to just shadow drop it. Same reason why there was no marketing materials or no marketing stuff at all prepared, because they didn't make any. And then right after this, they all go on Christmas vacation and then come back and they have to launch the game, but they didn't have any marketing materials prepped because that was never the plan.
dangers untold. I venture without fear. And ride without rest. For coin or for cause, I fight to the end.
Don't I look like totally enthralled? Oh, wait, okay, good.
Here we go. Bringing the heat.
Your light belongs to me.
Honest question, what's new?
Moving in for the attack.
It says new breed. What's new?
Shield breaker forming. Blade out.
Strike fast. Siege tower coming in.
The enemy is on gate.
I'm coming for you.
Marking baddies from above.
It's my turn. I am the coming storm. I am a warden, and this is my oath.
I must be missing something
Crazy,
because
that's right. High Guard launches in just 7 weeks on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. It is insanely fun to see, fun to play, as you saw in that trailer. And now it's time for our final award. Last year, Astrobot took home Game of the Year.
I'm sorry, I gotta be missing something because they said it's like a new breed of shooter, and I'm like, they're very talented devs, no doubt, but like, did that not look like one of the most generic shooters you've ever seen? Like, I'm thoroughly confused. And it turns out everybody had the same reaction. Okay, like everybody was like, "What? What do you mean? What do you mean?" Like, it just didn't make sense. So you know, at the end of the day, I think it's again just another tale of being out of touch with your community, with your target audience. And they also, I think, pretty clearly were pretty full of themselves too. The idea that you could in 2026 as a new studio, unknown studio, just shadow drop a live service game, a hero shooter live service game, and find success. Like, what are we doing? That's not going to work. I could have told you that wasn't going to work. Especially like if the game isn't that good, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And it's, you know, now it went the way of the dodo, and this is all that's left. As crazy as it is to say. So yes, it is true. They've deleted their videos. They're moving on, and can't say I blame them, but there you go. End of an era, a 6-month era, but there you go. Jeff set them up for failure. No, I think Jeff just helped them get in front of a lot more people. The thing is, if he hadn't done that, I think it would have died quietly in the forest with no one to see or say anything. But because it was on the stage with the spotlight, it now was ready to be dissected by everybody. If it had debuted with only like 1,000 players, then it would have been like, okay, yeah, clearly Jeff didn't help, and it just, nobody gave a crap. But people tried it. Like, you don't get 1 million people to try your game. I think the final number was like 2 million plus people tried it. You don't get that many people trying your game unless there's a lot of curiosity. And I mean, that's just, it's wild. It's wild to see how the story ends, but there you go. Anyway, let's see. Please, Luke, give me some good industry news. I'm running on fumes here, says Sierra. Thank you for that. I will say I wasn't able to stream yesterday because I was somewhere doing something. This is what I tweeted out in case you missed it. I'll be able to talk soon enough, but this is what I was off doing. Okay. We'll talk about it soon. Can't say nothing, but you know, we'll talk about it. Where was it? LA. I flew out in the morning. That's why when I said that, like, there's always a GTA something when I'm on a plane or traveling, literally while I'm on the plane, this drops. I have a talent, dude. It's amazing. So there you go. Yeah, I got to go to the magical land of La La Land. Saw a homeless man lighting fires right as I left the airport. Saw another dude that just was walking down the street, dropped his pants, took a crap on the sidewalk, and then kept going. Land of dreams. Land of dreams. Every time I go to LA, I'm like, what are we doing? How are we okay with this? You know? What are we doing? My favorite reaction to LA ever was Joel Raptor. Seeing him walk down the street after walking 2 blocks through downtown LA. He comes up just looking horrified. I was like, are you okay? It's like, I saw somebody he took his business out of his pants and he's just peeing while walking. It's like, is this normal? It's like, LA, baby. That's LA, baby. That's how it is, baby. Show business. It's showbiz, baby. Oh my God. Anyway. Yeah, we got that. Let's talk about GTA, because I think I read that one. Thank you, Chief Adam, again. Vitanese, thank you for that one. I'm Old Eric. Thank you for that 5. Hey, Luke, love the content. Trying to get the Discord for a while, but not working. Discord is linked to YouTube. Emailed, no reply. Please help. Email again. My team will check it. And then also make sure your YouTube subscriptions are set to public. I've noticed that can be an issue sometimes because there's privacy settings on YouTube, and if you have your subscriptions set to private or hidden, it can't pull that you're a member. And so double check that. It might automatically work, but either way, send another email and we can follow up with you. Walter, I don't believe this graph, especially if counting all discourse. There is no Stellar Blade. Oh, from the Summer Games Fest thing. Stellar Blade is very popular on Twitter. I don't think it's that big on other platforms, but it's very big on Twitter. But based on the data I've seen, as we track, because we do a lot of data analytics to figure out like what games and what video topics could work well and stuff like that. Based on what I've seen, the discourse around Stellar Blade was a pretty thin sliver on X, and then it was also a lot of discussion in like the culture subcategory, people discussing like whether the character was too young or whatever, which kind of acted as a turnoff for a lot of bigger outlets and bigger creators talking about it, because people just don't want to get into that stuff. It's just gross and silly. So yeah, Stellar Blade is big in certain slivers, but across the whole internet, Wolverine's always going to be bigger. You know, like Wolverine's way bigger. RPG, thank you for that one. Kids today will never understand games with piss filter on. That era from 2007 to 2015. Dude, the piss filter era was goated. Maybe we'll get another piss filter. Maybe that's the next thing. Maybe Asha can save us. GPF, thank you for the 2. With Stuntman coming back, I want a new driver game. Dude, I tried Stunt Driver. It's pretty fun. I'm gonna tell you, it's pretty good. Alsor, thank you for that super chat. Again, about all press being good press. Brock, thank you for that. A good Aussie one, I don't know if it's in the US too, is I was a bee's dick away. Is that really an Aussie term? Do people say that? I mean, it's not as good as Dip Me in Honey and Throw Me to the Lesbians, but still, that's pretty good. I was a bee's dig away. That's pretty good. I mean, you know, I could see saying that. I could see that. Let's see. Thank you for the Xperia, I think. Thank you for the 10. Just came into the live. Love you, my moldy cutie patootie. I'm married. Thank you, my friend. Much love. Much love. Chevy, thank you for the 2. I think he's still waiting for that apology. It was bold. That's why, like, looking at that tweet from Jeff, I also get the feeling like I don't think he would say that if he wasn't a true believer. You know, like I see that and I'm like, I think he was a true believer. I think he honestly really liked it, which you're allowed to do. Like you're allowed to do that. It's just, I think he legitimately loved it and was shocked that it didn't go well. You know, that's just how it is. Let's see. Sierra, thank you for that one. I'm still not convinced the ideas for Highguard weren't just someone asking ChatGPT what a game combining the mechanics and styles of the most popular competitive games from the last 5 years would look like. And the fact that you can't tell the difference between that being ChatGPT and like a legitimately like creatively built game is pretty telling. I mean, the fact that it looks like just merge these games together says a lot. Says a lot. You know, but they honestly thought it was like groundbreaking. MTS, thank you for that 5 as well. Nintendo avoids a lot, not all, of the turmoil in the industry these last few years. Why is that? Are they just very conservative and carefully run? They are very carefully run. They also are in their own bubble. So that helps a lot, being in your own bubble. I think they are, they also have just some behaviors that are broadly like more anti-consumer than a lot of other companies. So like they, for example, don't really put any of their first party stuff on sale ever. It's almost always, even games that are 5, 6, 7 years old, you will find still at full price. They're kind of like the anti-Ubisoft in that way. And because they're on their own lockdown platform, if there's somebody on Switch 2, like they have become accustomed to just buying things at full price every time, that makes games like Pokemon just print money, or games like, you know, Pocopia print money. I mean, they just, and they're in their own bubble. They take and keep all of it. You know, they just, they have done what Sony and Xbox want to do, and they've done a good job of it. They know what they're doing. But they are not free from their own frustrations or difficulties. I mean, they also are plagued with hardware costs and prices rising, and you know, they're not free from it. But I think notably you'll see that Nintendo has not, like, they did not go on a buying spree of studios. They did not go on a like crazy acquisition spree like Xbox did or PlayStation did. They didn't go all into live service stuff. They didn't mess with any of that, and I think they saved a lot of money as a result. It really helped. So anyway, let's talk about GTA finally. Let's talk about it. Did you get invited to fly out to Cloud Imperium Games headquarters for the Squadron 42 event in October? I did not. At least not that I'm aware of. Maybe it went to spam. I've missed events because invites went to spam. But no, I have not received or heard anything about a Cloud Imperium's event in October. Okay, let's talk about this. So, new segment. Well, everyone, it's happening. GTA 6 pre-orders open June 25th. There we go. It's happening. We got a new video showcasing the game. We got an announcement of when pre-orders are going up. There is a new rewritten description of the story. Jason and Lucia have always known the deck is stacked against them, But when an easy score goes wrong, they find themselves on the darkest side of the sunniest place in America, in the middle of a criminal conspiracy stretching across the state of Leonida, forced to rely on each other more than ever if they want to make it out alive. Then it's a good number of the same stuff we've seen previously, but this video is the main reveal that people hadn't seen before. And so they announced pre-orders will be going live, and that is no doubt when we're going to find out about pricing. We're going to find out about if there's going to be early access, things like that. Now, because the internet is the internet, reactions exploded. I mean, obviously, no shocker. Just the post on X did like 72 million views, 568,000 likes, which is ungodly. That's crazy. They revealed the cover art as well, where you can see we've got things like alligators. We've got some of the different vehicles you can expect, some of the different characters and sub-characters. Looks really good. But again, because it's the internet, reactions on the subreddit and elsewhere went and created much gnashing of teeth. And that is a pun, because one of the frustrations apparently was the number of teeth. I'm going to show you this. Now, the reason I want to talk about this is because obviously, like, we don't have much to look at in terms of like tangible information. It's just like, yep, pre-orders are going to go up next week, next Thursday, and we're going to be able to talk about it at that point. But I think we probably also get a trailer around that time. Probably trailer 3 drops the same day to announce it. That would be my guess. Now, what I want to look at, though, is specifically the community's reactions. Now, as with all of these things, going on the internet and finding a post with 75 likes might feel like, oh, people are talking about this. 75 people in the context of just the post that Rockstar made, 77 or 72 million. Finding 75 people who have unrealistic expectations, that's a pretty good percentage. Like that's we're doing great. That's 99.99999 whatever percentage that are positive, and you found 75. So I just want to be clear, like when you see stuff on social media and that we're about to look at, and it's like, wow, 89 upvotes. People are talking about this. It is literally statistically insignificant, like negligible. Okay. But I want to look at it because it's funny, and because there are people who are going to try to latch on to this because they just are like rage baiting and trying to get reactions. A lot of these people I do think are trolling in some cases that we're going to look at, but there are people that are going to actually try to spin this up into like being an added argument for culture war stuff or other stuff. Specifically, Nick Tech clipped a few of these subreddit reactions. Absolute said, "We got another floating light at the top right." This is what he's referring to. So in this video, you can see it pulls back. Look at the right. This is what he's talking about. He zoomed in on that and is complaining that that light is now floating. It's level of detail, which is very common. As you pull the camera out, things are going to lose detail because these are running on consoles from 2020. That's pretty normal. Nothing too crazy. If we look at the next post, this is from Mr. Buttons 007. Oh no, 196 likes. Ferris wheel reflection missing. He highlighted it for us so we know where to look. This again is a reference to right here where there's no Ferris wheel reflection in the water, which means the game is bad. This one, window parallax, which is basically where you can use like cube maps or things or parallax effects to make interiors of buildings appear to have interiors without having to like model it in with actual geometry and stuff. It's a very common practice in big games to do that because it just saves data and you're not able to go in here, so why would you need it? But this is where we start to get to the point where some of the like insane hype, as we've said, hype makes you stupid. I think some of that could be affecting the mental well-being of some individuals, okay? Because I would like to think that people on this channel and elsewhere have pretty level-headed expectations because like it's a video game at the end of the day. They've spent an ungodly amount of money on this, but it is a video game at the end of the day running on 6-year-old hardware. Okay? So there's certain things that you just shouldn't be expecting, like path traced lighting with like full ray traced lighting reflections, even a mile away from the camera. Maybe, if you have a 5090 on PC, cool. Yeah, then expect that, sure. But on console, like on a base PS5, I don't think so. Like, don't expect that level of insanity. Like, what are we doing? And it still looks remarkable. I mean, just look at how much is going on in this shot. Look at all of the different things, whether it's the planes off in the distance, whether it's all of these lights being rendered way, way off in the distance over there. You can see cars driving on the highway over here, actually being simulated. Down here, you can see people playing tennis in the middle of the night, people walking on the docks. I can enhance. You can see people, this lady or man, I don't know, is standing right against the railing right there. You've got people prepping their boats. You've got people driving these boats. Like, there is an insane amount of detail. But what inevitably happens is that there then is nitpicking over the finest details, and then people run with that and try to say that it needs to be delayed, which is where this ended up going. People calling for delays to take more time. How much time will they take to finish this building? My brother in Christ, who's going to tell him? Fake game. No one plays tennis. Yeah, true. This is yeah, I have a feeling some people will ask for a refund once they spot the slightest inconsistencies when it comes out. Day one nitpicks are going to be annoying. Inevitably, there's going to be people on social media that are going to do that. Like, day one, there's going to be the guys that are trying to nitpick every little bitty detail, because honestly, after years and years and years of no info and then the occasional trailer, the community has kind of been trained to nitpick. Like, they have to nitpick every trailer to find any piece of information they can find. They have to nitpick every little bitty thing. And then that builds this community that is just trained to nitpick every little bitty thing, even though it does not matter. Let me show you one that doesn't matter truly. Nick Tech quoted, found this one also just earlier today on Shocker, the subreddit. Someone in GTA's subreddit has counted the gator's teeth in GTA 6's cover art and is calling it a mistake because it has less teeth than an American alligator actually has. They went and counted all of the teeth to then conclude that this was unrealistic. Now, clearly they missed something. This is set in Florida. I'm not sure if anybody in Florida has all of their teeth still. Honest question. I think it's like a staple. Like, you go to the DMV to get your driver's license, they take a few teeth. It seems to be that way. I love Florida. I go there all the time for vacation. Just being honest, I think it's like a rite of passage there. And this is basically set in Florida. So I think that they just misunderstood where the game is set. Having said that, as you can see, they looked up. American alligators have 74 to 80 teeth. This alligator, though, doesn't. He only has 60 teeth. Cancel your pre-orders. No point. No point. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we actually doing? This is insane. Now, I want to be clear. I do love pixel peeping is the term I prefer. In my circles, I love pixel peeping. Pixel peeping's fun because it is fun. Like, when you're looking at a trailer like this or footage like this and going in and like enhance. And you can see this guy walking. So you can see that there's actual like animations playing out even that far from the camera. Sorry, my camera's blocking it. You see him walking? You'll notice in a lot of other games, like even Monster Hunter games, I believe Monster Hunter World, they had like half frame rate animations for monsters beyond a certain distance. So if the game was running at 30 frames, monsters would flap their wings at 15 frames once they passed a certain distance from you to save like CPU overhead or whatever it was. And so seeing stuff like this is like, oh, that's cool. So there's things you can do to appreciate what's going on here. Even these reflections, these are probably just, that's the thing. I'm not smart enough to know exactly what's going on here. If these were full screen space reflections, I would guess the Ferris wheel would show up. The fact that it isn't would suggest to me that this it probably is ray traced to some degree, especially with like how hazy this is, but it's like quarter resolution, so it's not showing up. I'm not exactly sure. I'll let the Digital Foundry guys break that down. But I like pixel peeping because it's fun and you can like find out more information about the game. But I think sometimes people lose sight of what's actually important in the broad scheme of things. Like when we talked about, I'm going to say it, Starfield. When we talked about Starfield, something like load screens in that game, if this is the total package for the game that makes up the quality, if it's all the way filled up, all the way to the right, the bar is filled, it's a 10 out of 10 game, right? There's certain things where it's like, okay, core gameplay loops, okay, that's here. Graphics and presentation, that's here. Maybe the story is another big chunk, and that's filled in here. But something like, you know, the load screens affects the open world adventuring, so it could have been all the way up here and filled in that much of the overall quality factor, but because of the constant load screens, it only gets this much, you know? So there's pieces of it that are more of a big deal. Like there's buckets of quality and consideration that are different for each and every game. Like combat in a From Software game is really, really important. I don't think having motion captured cutscenes is particularly important in a From Software game. Would it be welcome? Sure, but I don't think it's that important. And then on the flip side, if you are playing like a linear narrative, basically storybook game with like occasional QuickTime events, having a really intense combat system, probably not that important for that type of game, right? For something like GTA, looking at these different things like, oh, the LOD for the light makes it look like it's floating, therefore game bad. Like, what are we doing? What are we talking about? How does that affect the quality of the game? The reflection here isn't what I thought it would be. Bad game. Like, what are we doing? What are we actually doing? I think RDR2 is to blame. I think that the constant comparisons with Red Dead 2 have again within the community bred a sort of nitpickiness that has certainly become frustrating. One of the cases that I was really frustrated by was, let me see if I can find the original post about this, because it was so stupid. The guy ended up blocking me for it, I think, so I might not be able to find it. There was a page when Mafia: The Old Country came out that was complaining that in Mafia: The Old Country you couldn't swim, and was suggesting that like the quality was poor because you couldn't swim in it. Find the original post someone made complaining. Let me see if Grok can find the original post, because the guy, I think he blocked me when I made a video saying it was stupid to complain about that. But basically, like the fact that you can't swim in Mafia: The Old Country, how is that bad? Like, and then they had it compared with GTA. No, is this it? No. Well, Nick Tech clipped it, but the original guy was like Mafia videos or Mafia something or other. I don't remember. But there were articles written about it back then where it was like, yeah, see, you can't swim. And then they would play it side by side on like a TikTok video or top and bottom, showing it next to Red Dead Redemption 2. And it was like, what are we doing? Like, this is a AA scale narrative game. Yes, you can't swim out to the ship in the distance. Like, no, you pick your battles. It's a video game at the end of the day. But there's this desire to have every game be like, you know, a Rockstar level game. And that attitude is exactly why so many big AAA games have ridiculous budgets and can't turn a profit, because they have to spend time doing stuff like that frankly shouldn't matter. Especially if it's like just to avoid getting nitpicked by people on, you know, TikTok or something. But overall, like looking at this, I think there's so much remarkable stuff going on. Is it, I'm more amazed that it can even run on a base PS5, if I'm being honest. But look at the little bird, the last minute. It's pretty remarkable. But we're gonna see the trailer probably next week, which I'm ready for. We'll see what the close to final version of it looks like. The entire game apparently uses global illumination and then ray trace lighting throughout. So people were asking like, oh, for like base console performance, can you expect them to have like just a rasterized rendered mode where it has no ray tracing and it runs better? Apparently not. Apparently the game has been built from the ground up for ray traced global illumination solutions and stuff like that. So they're using that lighting technique throughout, which is why it looks so good. But that's also why when people are like, do you think it'll run at 60? I don't think so. I don't think so. That and the sim side. Now, I got to ask you guys in chat, represent. They're about to open pre-orders. They're about to start asking for money. If this is 30 FPS max on base PS5, but 60 on PS5 Pro, are you playing day one? Or what I think is personally more likely is that it's 30 FPS locked on base PS5 and then it's like dynamic or uncapped on PS5 Pro. What do you think? I have a Pro. Yes. Can't afford it until can't play until it's on PC. Wait on PC. Wait for PC. I think knowing how big of a leap like Red Dead was to PC, I do not blame people if they want to wait. And I personally am hoping that they expedite the PC port because I think that would be amazing. Like just this one shot, imagine what you could get this looking like with like a 5090, dude. Like it would be unbelievable. It already looks really good, but just imagine full ray traced reflections across the board. I can only imagine. But what I am expecting, this is my uneducated opinion, my uneducated opinion, and based on vibes. I think based on listening to people way smarter than me, the problem for GTA 6 in terms of performance is that it is Rockstar games tend to be CPU bound, not bottlenecked on the GPU. They're bottlenecked on the CPU side. And what happened is like base PS5, this is capacity for the GPU, this is capacity for the CPU. The PS5 Pro comes along and adds a bunch more GPU room and power. So wow, we can crank out a lot more pixels that way, but it's only like a 10% improvement on the CPU side. And so if this is what is limiting your frame rate, adding 10% extra juice doesn't mean double the frames. You know, yes, you have more GPU power, but if you're held back here, it doesn't matter how much firepower you got over here. You know, it just doesn't. So my understanding from listening to people, again, way smarter than me, is that being CPU bound, it is way harder to get GTA 6 running at 60 frames than you would think on current consoles. Maybe with PSSR it helps. Maybe, but it seems like, again, PSSR mainly is to help on this side. It's to help with the actual graphics rendering. What is difficult with Rockstar games is the CPU stuff, which is primarily processed on the CPU. There's ways that you can do simulation stuff on the GPU, as I understand it, but it's not that common. And again, most of that stuff is still set aside for the CPU. And so, you know, calculating this NPC walking, calculating where this helicopter is going, where the birds are going, how these cars are driving, these planes and jets and everything, all the physics sim, the water simulation, all of that stuff has to be done and run on the CPU. And it has to do that every frame, every second. And if you only got 10% extra wiggle room on it, but that's what's holding you back, it gets tricky. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of wizardry going on, and they've been polishing for like 2 years at this point, it seems. I know not actually, but it feels like that. So I'm sure that they've been working hard to try and make it happen. And you better believe, like, you remember the stories about how PlayStation was sending their engineers to help polish and help get games ready for even cross-platform games to get ready on their consoles to make them look better. Sony, I believe the story was Sony was sending engineers to help polish like Hogwarts Legacy on the PlayStation 5 because they wanted when people played it to see the best version is on the PlayStation 5. So they have an incentive to send their engineers to help optimize it, right? Xbox did the same thing with Starfield, where they had Xbox engineers go to BGS and help them optimize. I would not be surprised at all if the same thing is happening here, where Sony is going and working overtime trying to find a way to get it running at least close to 60 on the Pro. Because if they can do that, all of a sudden that PS5 Pro is looking mighty delicious. Mighty delicious. You know, otherwise people will be like, it's a slightly sharper 30 FPS. But I think if they can get it at least unlocked or running at a higher frame rate, that would help a lot. Personally, my personal feeling, some of the best games I have ever played in my life ran at 30. Counts me, I don't care, it's just my opinion. Some of the best games I've ever played ran at 30, whether it's like the original Breath of the Wild experience, phenomenal. Red Dead Redemption 2, played that at 30, loved every second of it. You know, a lot of the older like PS4 era games that we all know and love, whether you look at like OG Last of Us, whether you look at a Bloodborne, or you look at any of the Uncharted games, like all those, God of War 2018, like all those games ran at 30 and it was totally fine. Even good. Now, would I prefer 60? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's like, hey, would you like $1 million? Yes. Would you like 2 million? Yeah, that'd be great, but I'm happy with $1 million. Like either way, I'm good. You know, in this case, for me, it's less of a concern. Now, where it is a concern for me personally is in first person games. I struggle with like symptom illness syndrome called being a little bitch. I struggle in first person games at 30. It makes me motion sick. The worst are id Tech games. I can't play like Doom. The newest Doom, Dark Ages, I was able to play and it didn't really affect me that much. But like first person games at low frame rates make me nauseous as hell. I can only play like 20 minutes of it before I want to hurl. It's bad. But third person games, much more flexible. So for me, like I would love higher frame rates, but if it only runs at 30 and that's what you have to deal with to play the game on a console, so be it. And then I'll play it at 150 frames on PC when it launches there, you know, benefits of being on PC. But yeah, I if you have a PC and you are patient, you want to wait to play it until it's on PC, more power to you. That's awesome. I admire your restraint and conviction. And I think you will play a version of the game that is stunning. Absolutely. But I think a lot of people are probably in a similar boat where they're just like, especially with like some of the motion smoothing and some of the motion blur solutions that Rockstar's developed for games like Red Dead 2 that no doubt they're using here. They make it feel much better than just choppy 30 FPS. You know, one of the dangers is when you play a 30 FPS game that's like too sharp, it can actually make it feel worse and more choppy. So a little motion blur never hurt nobody. I don't tend to like motion blur, but when you're playing at 30, it can sometimes help. But I think that's probably the most controversial opinion I've had in a hot minute. But anyway. Overall, I think that this is going to be a big moment, baby. I did just see a post elsewhere of a business. It's actually, I saw one on Twitter, and then I saw that it's apparently happening more commonly, where certain businesses are already announcing that they are going to close on launch day. On November 19th, they will not be open because they're getting so many time off requests that they can't staff it, which is really funny. Like specifically, people are taking vacation time and like booking vacations all in the same week. And the bosses are like, what? I think I saw a couple now. Yeah, I've seen a couple too. It's going to happen more and more. Like, I am not joking, where it may feel, if you live in a place with like a lot of young people. I live like right next to Colorado State University. So like we have a lot of college students, young people. I would not be surprised if on launch day, it's like an actual ghost town. It's like really quiet. Nobody's out driving. The schools are empty. Like, I no joke. No joke. Like, they announced cover art, and this did 72 million views, 569,000 likes in a day. That's insane. Okay? That's insane. It's hard to quantify just how insane that is. I would not be surprised if there's like an actual blow to the electrical grid on this day. Like, no joke. No joke. It's going to be crazy. I will have my battery backups installed and ready to go. It's hard to describe for people who are not in the gaming sphere just how insanely huge this will be. And I know inevitably whenever I say that, there's people in chat who are like, I'm not interested. I'm guessing somebody's typing right now. Oh, Mr. Mo said, I just don't get it. See, I got you. No, like inevitably there's going to be people who don't care, and that's fine. But there's like so many people that do care. It's wild. Like it's going to be insane. So buckle up. What is funny though, honestly, is that even with GTA 6 launching in November, I think November's actually going to probably be like pretty boring. Like in the grand scheme, it launches on the 19th. Nothing is launching anywhere close to it. Like nothing. And so we'll have some October games, but for a solid like month before and after, there's going to be nothing. You know, there's going to be nothing. It's going to be very, very quiet. I've been racking my brain trying to figure out what we will do. You know, Phantom Blade, we do have Phantom Blade. That's true. I do think Phantom Blade's going to be awesome. But even Phantom Blade, what date does it launch? October 29th. I kept thinking it was earlier in October. Yeah, they're on the 29th. That will fill it up. We're not sure how long the game is, but that's probably, you know, at least a week or two, probably, hopefully. So that'll help. But yeah, it's gonna be crazy time, wild time, man, wild time. But next week we're gonna get probably a trailer on Thursday would be my guess. They'll drop a trailer, drop the pre-order links, revealing the price. I'm guessing final prediction, I'm gonna say 80, and then they'll have a premium variant all the way up to like $150. I think that's what it's gonna be. Honest question though, in chat, let me know what you think. Do you think they reveal anything about the online on Thursday? Because there's been rumors swirling that they are going to have a separate SKU for online. That it will be like a separate buy it for 60, buy it for 70, whatever product. So it's GTA 6 and then GTA Online launched as its own standalone thing. I don't know. Or it could be a different mode within the game. That the benefit of that is that then people who are buying the online game boost the numbers for the mainline game. So I don't know, but my personal expectation, and I think most of you agree with me, so we'll be wrong altogether. I think that they will not talk about online until, I mean, maybe even after launch. Like I think that they'll be very coy about it. They'll be very hush hush. And then they'll just do big marketing drops and stuff. Because I think the danger if they market the online at the same time is there's going to be a lot of confusion over what they're doing, especially if the online comes after. If it's like, yeah, online comes a month after launch or 2 months or 6 months after launch or something. I think that's not what they want to deal with, because then there's going to be confusion. People buy it and like, where's the online? So I think they will just pitch it as the story-based mode and story game, and then, you know, they'll tackle online after the fact so that there's no confusion. That's my guess. I also, yeah, I don't think, to be clear, I don't think it's their day one. I think it launches like a month to 6 months after. But the reason why I'm hesitant to say a month after is because that lands it right around Christmas, when all of the employees are going on vacation. They just launched GTA 6. They've been crunching for like 2 years, so they probably need a good break. So I'd be surprised if they launched it right after. It might be like spring of 27 is when it launches. Do you think online will be cross-platform? I think so. After all this time, I would be very surprised if it wasn't. But we'll see. That could also be a PlayStation thing. Luke, do you actually like GTA? Well, I've tried playing GTA Online a lot. I played with my buddies back in the day a lot, and we had a great time. It never did well in terms of viewership. I've tried to do like critiques and stuff of the stories, and I've tried to do videos on it, and they've just never clicked. But I do really like GTA. I was the guy that used to just go and then steal a big jet and then just fly around and explore the cities and stuff, and like make my own little stories up in my mind's eye. You know, I've always liked GTA. I mean, they're sandboxes. They're just fun. They're just fun. I never got, there was a period where I got good at it, but I never got amazing at doing the like crazy, you fly above the Air Force base and then you parachute in, steal the, whatever it is it an F-18, whatever the fighter jet is, and then escape with it. I was able to do it reliably for a while, but I've lost the knack. I tried recently, like, you know, a couple months ago. I was like, oh, maybe I'll try that again. And I booted up. It's like, nope, died within 20 seconds. But dude, back in the day, I was pretty good at it. I could get in there and get it real quick. No issues. But now it's just, where's that tank come from? It just shows up, blows you up. Let's see. Minds I mentioned, hell yeah, all part of whenever we talk about Rockstar, you got to bring them up. Basically, you got old. Seems like it. So anyway, there you go. GTA 6, it's looking awesome. We'll talk about it more next week. No doubt we will have all sorts of stuff to talk about. I think it's going to be baller, but inevitably there's going to be nitpicking weirdos. Like, some of this is just being funny. Like, you know, this guy probably is like, no, this doesn't matter. It's just something I noticed and is fun. Like, that's fine. Whatever. But there will be people who look at this and are doing the posts on Twitter and TikTok and YouTube trying to say that like Rockstar fell off, Rockstar's crap, and the game needs to be delayed, and freaking out over this stuff. And I think we all need to unite together and make fun of them passionately. Okay? Fair? Okay. It'll be that one Red Dead comparison guy. Dude, the funniest counter to that was I saw recently. I don't remember who did it, unfortunately, but somebody just did Red Dead 2 versus Red Dead 2, and they just played the same clips after each other. It was really funny. It's like Red Dead 2 horse walking animation versus Red Dead 2 horse walking animation. It's like, this is basically what we're doing, honestly. That's pretty funny. Let's see who done did it. I don't remember who done did it. It was someone, and it was funny. Spoof Man, thank you for the 5. Sending support. Control Resident previews look fantastic. Did you get a chance to play it, and do you think it can be successful for Remedy? Everybody I've talked to, I did not get the chance to play it. They had very weird times for like slots, so we weren't able to do it. It was like we play that or we get to do like 3 other things. And so we chose to do the 3 other things. Unfortunately, we missed out on it. But I've spoken to people who did try it, and everybody I've spoken to loved it. There is a concern, though. People are not sure if it's going to be able to go like mainstream because it seems niche. I was just talking to somebody yesterday while I was in LA who tried it. And she was telling me that it's fantastic, but she thinks she's really worried the game is not going to do super well. Because the people who are interested are really interested. It doesn't seem like it's really pierced the mainstream veil quite yet. Which is going to be interesting to see how they navigate that. I've seen that in terms of discourse. It seems like the people who are interested are like really, really interested, but there's a lot of people who are like, eh. So as long as the budget is not insane, they can, that can go great. I'm just worried that they're expecting it to do like 5 million copies, which would be lame. But I think it looks baller. I want to try it. And I've only heard really good things about it. Only heard really, really good things about it. Luke, are you going to watch the USA Australia right now? Not right now, because I'm hanging with you guys. I'm busy. I can't do that, but I know it's starting right now. Let's see. How many pre-orders? Oh, for GTA? Oh, do you think they're gonna tell us? I guess, yeah, put it in chat because it'll show up on screen and we can come back and verify. Final predictions. How many millions of copies are pre-ordered in the first 24 hours? I think I think it's going to be a crazy number. I think it's going to be, let's see, they got 77 million on Twitter within 24 hours. It's going to be paired with a new trailer. The new trailers always do gangbuster views. How many views did GTA trailer 2 get in 24 hours? Let's see. GTA 6 trailer 2 amassed 475 million views across all platforms within its first 24 hours. A lot of those are dupes for sure, but that's insane. That's insane. To put it in perspective, I think like the recent like even for big games like Wolverine, they're really happy if they do like 100 and if they do like 15 million, you know. Like it's kind of crazy. I'm gonna go lucky number 13 million. 13 million pre-orders within 24 hours. And I think by the time launch comes around, it's going to be even higher, of course. It's going to be like 25, 30 million pre-orders alone. And then launch day copies, I think they could cross like 30 to 35 million in one day. That's what I think. 13 is lucky. It's that people think it's not lucky, so they often don't choose it for stuff or don't do stuff with it. So if 13 is your lucky number, you're using the underutilized number. That's the key. The weirdest thing is when you go to a hotel and there's no 13th floor. It's like, what are we doing? It goes 12 straight to 14. It's like, what? Why? Are we really that superstitious? Is this the 12th century? What are we doing? I thought 7 was lucky. 7 is lucky for like the most mainstream vanilla person. Be more creative. Do something wacky. At least like, you know, it's got to be a prime number, obviously, but do something not so common, you know? Yeah, like I'm not joking. A lot of elevators just straight up skip the 13th floor. It just goes 11, 12, 14. 12, 14. 11, 12, 14. Where does that even start? Where did the 13th floor superstition start? Let's see. In the late 1800s, when the first skyscrapers were built, builders and landlords worried that superstitious tenants would not rent spaces on that floor. To avoid losing money, they simply skipped it. So, but like, why did it? Last Supper, Christian tradition, Judas was the 13th guest to sit at the table during the Last Supper, and he betrayed Jesus. Oh, so you're satanic if you like 13. Oops. Norse mythology. A famous myth tells of a dinner party for 12 gods in Valhalla. Loki, the trickster god, crashed the party as the 13th guest. His arrival caused chaos and led to the death of a beloved god. Kind of sounds similar to me, I'm going to be honest. Those are mighty close right there. That's fascinating. Yeah, by the early 1900s, it was standard practice for elevator companies like the Otis Elevator Company to install panels that skipped from floor 12 straight to 14. So it just kind of started, and then everybody's like heard of it, so you just have to keep doing it. Okay. Wait, gods can die? Just for a few days. Yeah. No, there's always a season 2. There's always something they come up with. There's always something. Okay. New segment. You thought we were done, but we're just getting started. New segment. Well, everybody, it's time to talk about it. And it's got me so excited. It has me feeling like I need to butter my butt and call me a biscuit, or dip me in honey and throw me to the lesbians. I still don't know what that means. Sorry, Jacob. I'll do a real intro. Okay, we got State of Unreal 2026. This is the same like showcase thing that they do every year to showcase what's coming in Unreal Engine, what the big overhauls are, big points of progress, and stuff like that. They usually showcase big upcoming games to get people excited. Gears of War E-Day got a bunch more gameplay showcasing high fidelity performance and graphics and all that stuff. But the little snippet that I wanted to look at specifically is a game that is coming from a team you may have heard of, you may not have heard of, but the studio is called Neon Giant. Their previous game was also like a cyberpunk-esque top-down like arcadey shooter, but they're doing a new game called No Law, and it looks absolutely insane. And I want to show it to you because it looks ridiculous. Real Serious, thank you for that. I know Knight is an example of aging well, but I'm assuming Arkham Knight, but I'm replaying Arkham Origins recently and surprised by how good it still looks. Dynamic fog, detailed textures, objects with physics, not the most photoreal, but great design. Yes, it's from an era when NVIDIA was doing like actual physics sim stuff. It was like PhysX was all the rage. So they had tons of smoke simulation, paper simulation. Even Arkham City has a lot of it too. And then it was like totally abandoned. It's really sad. But let's see, No Law. Let's see what he's got to say, because this is one to keep an eye on.
Here to talk about No Law, the next game from our studio. In our first game, The Ascent, our small team pushed the out-of-the-box UE4 tech to its limit to make a highly detailed, lived-in cyberpunk world.
It's really pretty. It's really fun too. If you've never played The Ascent, it was, I think, on Game Pass. I'm not sure if it still is, but even if you have to buy it, it's usually on deep sale, and it's a vibe, dude. It's I know people have been like, Luke, but what vibe? You can't just say a vibe. That's the point. It's such a vibe. It's its own thing. It is its own vibe. But truly, like the realization of this cyberpunk city is so well done. It really does feel lived in, because so often with these like futuristic cities, it doesn't feel like a real place. You know, it doesn't feel like a place people could actually live in. It just feels like weirdly shaped buildings stacked on top of each other. They actually did manage to do a very, very, very good job. And I highly recommend you check it out. By the way, appreciate you, Indie Gamer, for the 1,000 bits. Thank you, my friend. That's super generous. Thank you. Thank you.
For our new game, No Law, a high-fidelity, immersive, first-person shooter set in the unregulated city of Port Desire, we knew that our best starting point would be building a game around the core feature set of Unreal 5, because a small team like ours needs to work with the engine, not against it.
And this is something that, this is why Unreal wants to talk to these guys and have them front and center, because this is a small team. And just looking at these screenshots, if you told me that this was the next Cyberpunk game, I'd be like, buy it. Yeah. Like their work in the environments, their work with all of this stuff is crazy impressive.
We realized early on that out of the box wouldn't be enough. We had to push beyond the default and build our own workflow inside UE5 to make the world we wanted. We're proud of what we did with The Ascent, and No Law is the next step in that same approach. Our constraint was specific. We didn't want the largest world, but the densest, a city that feels lived in at every scale, where every corner carries history and every surface tells a story. Port Desire is shaped by human clutter, cramped market alleys, layered graffiti, worn stickers on electrical boxes, spaces that feel touched and retouched by the people that live there. Our goal was to tell a story with every frame, from a messy apartment where characters go about their lives to the skyline of the city.
This looks lived in. I'll give him that. The crap on the floor, the like trash drawer that's like half open because it doesn't close right after, you know, you've owned the place for a month and a half. Dude, I feel bad. My in-laws have a trash drawer like that, and at one point the trash got too full. It was too heavy and it like bent the rails. So now the trash can, like always, is a little out like this. It's funny. Very relatable. Takeout still sitting on the counter. The soda's there. The pot's unwashed in the sink. All these little touches make it feel real. This is why like the super sterile environments that you sometimes see in like sci-fi, they don't feel authentic to me. Like I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. Like, I'm going to do it. Don't be mad at me. I'm going to show you. Don't be mad at me. Starfield, like everything is too clean. It's too clean. And I personally think it's because the engine can't handle more clutter. And so you end up with these environments that are always like super just flat and boring, and there's like nothing in there. But you compare like these environments where everything is just super spick and span, the counters are super clean and pristine all the time, and then you compare it to like the dark dunginess of something like this. It's like, yeah, this feels like people actually live here. Now you could say it's a difference between like dystopian sci-fi and what do they call the other one? Utopian sci-fi, where it's like everything is wonderful and amazing. It's like the difference between Star Wars and Star Trek, you know, like those two differences. That could be part of it too, but all I'm saying is I like this because this feels more human, more real.
As a relatively small team, that ambition came with real challenges. We wanted extreme detail everywhere, but we also needed stability and performance without hand optimizing each location. For us, the answer wasn't a single system, but a shift in how we built the world. We prioritized density over scale, and we built a pipeline that let artists handcraft spaces without constantly stripping detail back and without relying on procedural generation. Nanite is what made that approach viable. It lets us keep a high level of detail across surfaces without treating every asset as a trade-off between fidelity and performance. Our custom implementation of FastGeo in combination with the world partition system enables a seamless experience that never breaks. It allows us to have details in every nook and cranny and tell a million small stories. In fact, we have more objects in any given frame than the entirety of the Ascent.
What? In any frame, there are more objects or more object detail than in the entirety of their previous game. Okay. That's what you call exponential scaling, dude. That's yeah, talk about 16 times the detail. Jesus Christ. That's insane. But I mean, I think you can see it. You can see it in like the little bits of trash everywhere, the little bit. I mean, those touches make a difference. But this is also why games inevitably take way longer to make, because like there's so much that you put in. Once you start that journey, like you could, previous games would just have like flat plane as the floor. This would just be a flat plane. You put a texture over top, we're done. Nice and easy. Now they're going in, they're touching it up, they're making sure that everything has, I mean, this probably even has geometry to it too. Like you can actually see, it might be normal maps, sure, but they clearly have piles of trash there. They've got different things raised. They've got weeds growing up through it. Like there's so much little detail everywhere. And this is part of the reason that studios like it, is because they like the idea of it being Unreal Engine. They like the idea of being able to use tools like Nanite to just pack detail in without having to constantly worry about how many triangles they can fit in to the frame before everything melts.
With this workflow, we can preserve detail and density in every corner, from the smallest bolt on a freighter to the city as a whole, with no invisible walls and no loading. We build tools inside Unreal to help our artists handcraft the entire city, alley by alley, building by building, block by block. To show Port Desire's full range as an urban city overrun with vegetation, we needed dynamic lighting. From the cozy, lush midday sun to the darkest, the most dangerous alleys where even the bright neon light does not reach. The challenge was maintaining a fully dynamic day, night, and weather system without unpredictable frame times.
Dude, those are all the same camera.
The challenge was maintaining a fully
dust storm,
dynamic day, night,
fully clear day. You can see the city in the distance.
and weather system without
Rainy day, overcast,
unpredictable frame times.
nighttime.
Lumen
Just that is crazy, dude. Just that swap is wild. Golly, man, that's outrageous. And again, this is a small team. Imagine what CDPR is doing behind the scenes.
day, night, and weather system without unpredictable frame times. Lumen gives the foundation for fully dynamic lighting and mega lights that our artists focus on the believability of the space instead of tuning every single light source.
Yeah, Megalights is that system that they built out. I think we looked at it last year. They revealed it last year. But Megalights is that system they have that allows you to have basically however many light sources you want. which again, it's just about scale and scope. Like the ultimate vision, it seems, for Unreal Engine right now is that they want to just let developers and artists do whatever they want and not have to worry about the technical constraints. And that's a great idea, but the inevitability is that you run up against performance walls, or you run up into issues with optimization, which is what Unreal has kind of been known for, is that because artists can just go pack in as much detail as they want, and the engine is supposed to handle scaling it and making it run well, if the engine struggles to make it run well, you start to associate the density with crappy performance, because like they've not had to go in and create assets that have different LODs for everything, because the engine's supposed to handle all of that. Like you just it's easier said than done. But the hope is that, this time around with this Unreal Engine update, that, they can figure it out, and then the performance will actually be really, really good, and you'll get the graphical fidelity as well. And there won't be a trade-off, because let's be honest, in the last few years, there's definitely been a trade-off. They don't want there to be, but there definitely has been.
Every believable space needs dozens or hundreds of individual light sources. From the smallest blinking electronic warning light on a camera to the large neon signs above a marketplace. Mega lights allow us to retain the visual fidelity bar we're aiming for while keeping performance considerations low. Once everything is dynamic, it starts to affect the gameplay in more direct ways. Players can shoot out a street lamp, flood a space with a flashlight, or they can leave an area in darkness and have the AI NPCs react to light and shadow, shying away from glare, searching through darkness, or escalating when something feels off.
Dude, already that looks more consequential than like all of AC Shadows. Like AC Shadows, the whole point was shadows. The whole point was like you throw a throwing star and it knocks over the lantern and the lights go out, so now you can stealth your way in. In the entirety of the, God knows how many hours I put into that to finish it, like, I think I used that a dozen times, maybe. Like, but it was always in like very specific cases where you needed to get around this guy, and so you put the light out. It just wasn't that consequential. But this is like pretty baller. Like already I can see regularly shooting out lights to change paths and change tactics.
Let's see who's got the bigger gun, motherfucker!
To make the city feel alive, we leaned on the mass framework to drive our crowds. NPC density and types shift based on time of day, region, and weather. In the slums, a storm clears the streets, but in the more sinful parts of Port Desire, even heavy rain won't slow things down.
Hell yeah.
Mass lets us simulate thousands of characters at once, over 3,000 at any given time, which is also more than the entirety of the Ascent.
So the Unreal Engine NPC simulation toolset allows them to have more NPCs simulated at one time than in the entirety of the game they made before. That hurts my head.
The city always feels active, no matter where you are. We're also using MetaHuman, paired with our own character randomization system. Together with MetaHuman Animator, we can generate and bring to life thousands and thousands of variations of characters, so that the main characters and the extras in the background are all unique. We wanted a world that reacted systemically to the player, without us having to hand-place effects and destruction. Filling a world of this density and scale with contextual effects while maintaining performance and interactivity.
Dude, they have physics sim paper.
Of this density and scale with contextual effects.
Look at the paper. Look at it.
While maintaining performance and...
Dude, the game that had the best physics sim paper that I can remember, we just talked about it earlier. Arkham City Catwoman PC gameplay. It was in like the early level when you first unlock her. Is this it? It's when she's inside by the safe. Yeah, this. I mean, you can see it here. Wait for it. Go over by the posters. Hold on. Go to the posters. And the rug is also simulated. You'll see her like kick up the rug when she runs over it. Why are we fighting in the corner? Go back to the paper. This entire clip is for nothing. Okay, well, there you sort of see it. Sort of see the paper moves while she kicks it. Dude, that used to be standard like 15 years ago, and now like it's been totally abandoned. It's too bad. It's too bad because it was awesome. It was awesome in that game. Like even like when she walks on the rug like ripples and moves while she moves over it. It's awesome. And this game has paper too. Sorry, I muted it.
Textual effects while maintaining performance and interactivity was one of our key challenges. By combining PCG and Niagara data channels, environmental effects are procedurally populated where appropriate. Wherever artist places trash or leaves, particles will spawn dynamically based on wind, weather, and player actions. Shoot a bullet or throw a grenade, and particles will move out of the way.
The frames will too. It looks great. It looks great. Sometimes a little choppy, but it looks really good.
And particles will move out of the way. We combined chaos physics and their own GPU-driven solution to support tens of thousands of moving objects simultaneously.
Dude, that was crazy. That was crazy.
GPU-driven solution to support tens of thousands of moving objects simultaneously. The result is a reactive environment where smoke lingers, embers drift, and broken glass stays where it fell. Creating NOLA has been the process of finding where the engine ends and our custom tools begin. Achieving this level of density, lighting complexity, and systemic reactivity was previously impossible for a studio of our size. By leveraging UE5's latest tech to bypass traditional development bottlenecks, we have finally been able to build the uncompromised version of the world we wanted to create for years. We can't wait for you to experience it. Thank you. Freak.
Dude, it looks very impressive. I mean, that's pretty wild. The game is called No Law. It is coming from Neon Giant. They previously did The Ascent. If you played that again, you absolutely should. But this is their previous game that you're seeing on screen now. And then they use these new Unreal Engine tools to build this out. It's the game that has that like Tom Selleck looking protagonist. Looks really good. But I mean, this is absolutely crazy. It looks really, really good. Really, really good. And again, he stressed so many times, this is a small studio working with Epic, of course, on these things, but this is a small team and they're achieving this level of fidelity and complexity and environments and systemic stuff and dynamic stuff. Just imagine what like a team of 400 could do. That's at least the idea. Like, that's at least the idea. Protagonist looks goofy. Are you saying Tom Selleck looks goofy? Are you really saying that? Are you saying Tom Selleck? Because let's be real, he looks just like Tom Selleck. You're gonna look this man in the eye and say that he looks goofy? Say it to his chest, that face. You won't. Because you're scared. That's a real man. Yeah. Hell yeah. America. I don't know why I see him and I'm like, hell yeah. I want to get an American flag back tattoo when I see him. I don't know what it is. It just feels right. Feels right, you know? Oh my God. Okay. Let's see. I don't know where to go from there. No Law looks cool, but we learned from Cyberpunk 2077. No, absolutely. This is why nobody's, at least I hope nobody's saying pre-order and start throwing money at it. You should be cautious as always, because what we're looking at is like, wow, the world building looks really cool. Wow, the detail and environments is really cool. Does that mean that a video game in that world is fun? No. Those are two separate questions. You can have a phenomenally well-built world that is boring to walk around. You know, the real world is very beautiful. There's a lot of detail in it. Does that mean that you walking around with nothing to do is going to keep you engaged and fun? No, not necessarily. What has to happen for a video game is like the world has to be interesting, and then you also need fun activities, gameplay, story, things like that. So they've really achieved clearly one part of it that's very, very impressive, but we don't know much about the game side of it, so that's just a separate question. But we can still compliment the really impressive thing that they have here. It doesn't give us the full picture of the game, though, you know. Yeah, precisely. No Man's Sky was a great example of that. Exactly. Like No Man's Sky, amazingly impressive procedural system, especially coming from an indie team that was tiny. Does that mean that a game is fun in that sandbox? Not necessarily, you know. Not necessarily. You should tell Todd Howard this. Dude, a few of those little things that he was mentioning where he's like, yeah, no load screens at all. Fully dynamic physics simulation and all these things. It's like, oh, those, I thought those were all like unique strengths of Creation Engine, and that's why they had to stay with it. But apparently they're getting all of that working in Unreal Engine. So I think the only piece left for Unreal Engine that you can point to as like a reason to stick with it is modding, and their in-game, you know, paid mods. That's like the only reason to still use it. Which, let's be honest, is the reason. One of you guys sent me this clip. I want to see it. And then I'll catch up on the chats. Okay, one new segment, whatever mini thing. One of you guys sent me this. Oliver Darko said, game journalist Jason Schreier talks about political infighting within Xbox and highlights how Microsoft attributes imaginary revenue, so-called member-weighted value, to first-party studios. More Game Pass playtime means better P&L sheet for the studios.
Remember at the beginning of this how I mentioned that Microsoft is this big, complicated organization with a lot of different tentacles, a lot of people who have different goals and kind of their own like objectives that sometimes are in conflict with one another. That becomes even more pronounced at this point. You have, even within the Xbox org, you have a lot of political fights, a lot of people who are at odds with one another, who are not on the same page. It is messy. The last couple of years at Xbox have been quite messy.
Well, and this, I mean, we can confirm that because there were reports that came out after Sarah Bond was not promoted, where she was saying, well, apparently, allegedly, Sarah, it was her way or the highway. So her big push was the everything is an Xbox thing. That was what she was in charge of. Clearly, it started with Phil Spencer, but then he hired her to front run that. So, you know, they both kind of were behind it. But that was her baby. And she was the one that did the recent marketing campaign to push that narrative that ended up being so disastrous for them, where, you know, it was just a picture of a TV and it said, this is an Xbox. And so it turned into a meme, a joke, where people would have a loaf of bread and be like, this is an Xbox, you know. It turned into a joke, which is never what you want when you're trying to like sell something and people think it's a joke. But I think, yeah, your mom is an Xbox. Exactly. I think that this is very much true. There was clearly a lot of infighting, and Asha, to her credit, when she came in, it seems like she revitalized a lot of the energy in the company for a little while, and that she came in and seemed to unify everybody over the clear vision of let's get back to basics. Let's get back to what made Xbox special, renegade spirit or whatever she called it, capitalize everything. New logo. Like, she came in and was like, we're going to try to all get on the same page so that we're all one unique and congruent fighting force to push the brand forward, which helps. Because I think within Xbox, you had the old guard who wanted Xbox of the 360 era back, and then you had like the Phil Spencer types. And Phil, I think, to his credit, while the numbers speak for themselves, I think he was, financially at least, a bad CEO for Xbox. Like, clearly he kind of ran it into the ground. Exact reasons for that are more complicated than just his individual decisions, but clearly he had a vision and the vision didn't work. But his vision, to his credit, was, I think, make Xbox the definitive place to play games, make it open for everybody, make it the most affordable place to play games. And he also had this noble goal of having artsy studios like a Compulsion or Ninja Theory or Double Fine that are not making big commercial smash hits, that would sell well anyways. Pentiment is like a great example of a game that wouldn't be greenlit normally that ended up being fantastic. But he wanted those games to basically be paid for by the amazing success of the big guys above them. So like you get Call of Duty that pays for Pentiment because it makes so much money. You can then fill out the catalog with the more niche stuff, the more artsy stuff that can't financially stand on its own. And that was a cool idea. Turns out that works until Call of Duty has a bad year, and then everything goes belly up, right? Like if Call of Duty has a bad year, nothing made money. You lose a ton of money because the sort of stimulus only comes from one entity or two entities at the very, very top. And if they struggle, or if the market in general struggles, everything sinks like a rock. It's like having, instead of you're in the ocean, and instead of having 1,000 ping pong balls that are all buoyant, they don't individually have a lot of buoyancy. They can barely keep themselves afloat, but overall, I mean, they'll do the job, especially working together. The entire thing will stay afloat. What Microsoft did is they just had a bundle of rocks tied to a life preserver, and it stayed afloat. But the second that the buoyancy of the life preserver starts to lose itself or lose some air in it or whatever, it's going to sink to the bottom real quick because everything else is pulling it down. And so it was a noble idea, but it didn't really work. So you have Phil Spencer's team there. And then Sarah, I think Sarah is a very motivated person. Sarah pretty clearly desperately wanted to be in charge of Xbox. I think it was clear she was being groomed to become the CEO of Xbox after Phil. And I think that was the plan for years. There was reporting that behind the scenes, she was basically being told, if you can get this Activision Blizzard deal through regulators and get it closed, you basically earned your spot as the next head of Xbox. And she did it, to her credit. She did it. And, but then her pet project, her baby, was this Everything's an Xbox, which was one of the most disastrous things ever. I do think that like the price hikes, I don't think were purely like Phil's decision or Sarah's decision. I think it's pretty clear the price hikes that happened, pushing Outer Worlds 2 to $80, raising the price of Game Pass by double. I think that was probably that Satya Nadella was like, we need to start making money. Get on it. Phil was like, we're going to lose subs if we do that. Satya was like, show me. And they did it and lost millions of subscriptions. And that's just kind of how it happens. But I think that it's pretty clear. They definitely had multiple factions broken out within Xbox, and they only really unified under Asha. But then Asha again came out, and now they're doing tons of layoffs. And I don't know if they're still unified, but this is why I've said, if you're going to do the mass layoffs, rip it off like a Band-Aid and then focus on rebuilding the team. You can't keep doing this like every 6 months, there's another wave of layoffs and everything sucks again. Because this constant, like, everything's great, you're all fired. Everything's great, you're all fired. You can't create a healthy environment. Like, Microsoft tries to run their gaming division the same way they run like their software engineering divisions, which like my dad has been a project manager for. And it's very clear, like their modus operandi is like, okay, we bring you guys in, you do this project. Okay, we're going to lay you guys off, and then we're going to hire you as a contractor. And then after that, your contract expires. You move to a different company. We'll hire that company now. They just kind of burn and churn. That's just how they operate. And you can do that with software engineers who are doing like security updates for Windows, or who are working on firmware for some niche device. You can do that, and it's not that big of a deal. When you're trying to create like an art house project that takes 5 years to make, you can't do that. You need stability. You just do. And Microsoft seems to just fundamentally misunderstand that. And so they constantly do this thing where they get people excited. Oh, we're finally coming out of the tunnel. And then they're like, no, actually, you're all fired. Like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
People start openly questioning Game Pass and talking about how it cannibalizes their sales. And my colleague Cecilia D'Anastasio at Bloomberg has reported on the huge numbers that are estimated, hundreds of millions that were estimated to have been lost on Call of Duty by putting that on Game Pass. Because when you put a game on Game Pass, you are losing a lot of money as a result, even though you are like. Again, like I said, different orgs have different, within the organization, different groups have kind of competing goals. And so what might be really good for the Game Pass folks and for subscriptions there might not be so good for individual studios and the revenue brought in from individual games. By the way, just a little quick side note is that like the way the accounting works at Xbox is that you have if you're a game studio, you have your P&L, and the org actually attributes a certain amount within that P&L as like revenue, imagined revenue essentially, for what you for like the number of hours that people are playing your game on Game Pass. I believe they call it member weighted value is the term that they use. Microsoft has a lot of funny terms.
Basically, you have a bucket of money that's everybody's subscriptions from Game Pass. And then your studio gets paid out a chunk, like certain handfuls of that bucket based on how many hours. This is what I've been telling you guys for like years at this point, is that the money that, what determines for Xbox a successful game is the number of hours played. So a game like Hellblade 2, where even if you play the whole thing, you only got 4 hours of gameplay time out of somebody, that is not a very financially viable product compared to like a live service game, or compared to a massive RPG, or a game that just has constant busy work, dynamic systems for replay, constant new game plus, like Starfield. Starfield, to its credit, this is why I've said for a long time, I don't think Microsoft considers Starfield a failure, even though a lot of people were disappointed by it. Starfield, according to the data we have, was successful in terms of hours played. The average hours played were very high. The people who played it played an ungodly amount of it. A lot of people fell off of it, but I mean, they still put in a good chunk of hours to it. In many ways, Starfield was built and optimized for Game Pass, and not many games are nowadays, and that's probably why some people fell off of it so hard. It also makes me wonder about Elder Scrolls 6's design decisions, because if you're trying to build, if you're Todd Howard and you're like, I really want a boat, but boats are expensive. But if Elder Scrolls 6 can have an average player time of like 80 hours, I can afford the biggest boat in the marina. So how do we inflate gameplay hours? How do we get people to spend more time in the game? And then you start to see how all of these design decisions break down. Exactly. Boat math. Exactly.
Instead of profit margin, they call it accountability margin. And the big number there was 30%, as I've reported on Bloomberg with my colleague Dina Bass. And so on your P&L, on your profit.
So the 30% accountability margin, this is where the nitpicking happened. So they reported at Bloomberg that there was a 30% accountability margin requirement from Satya Nadella and Amy Hood, like the head honchos, the CFO and CEO of Microsoft. Microsoft spokespeople then later said, actually, our margin requirement is, we wouldn't say 30. It's like, yeah, because they call it accountability margin. They're like, technically, we don't have 30% margin requirements. And it's like, bitch, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. You know, come on. This is effectively its margin, you know. I also find the term accountability margin really kind of like, what would the word be? Patronizing? I don't know. I find it like, we need to hold you guys accountable. This is your accountability margin from your accountability buddy. You know, I just find the term
cringe. Loss sheet, you might see a number that is like, hey, here's how much you would have made, or here's how much you're getting an attribution in revenue from being on Game Pass. And people question that number, I think, because it's all just kind of funny math. So it gets a little bit messy. And again, expectations are not 100% clear. A lot of people are just kind of unhappy with the situation. People have different beliefs throughout the org as to whether Game Pass really cannibalizes sales or not.
And this brings up the bigger question, like Game Pass as a platform. There are certain things that I think are absolutely true. I think it is absolutely true that subscription-based models in any form of media do fundamentally affect, often in negative ways, distribution of the product in a more traditional way. So if you have a movie that's going to streaming services a week into its run in theaters, that will affect sales. I don't think that's a controversial thing to say. If there is a movie that just dropped, what's a big movie? The new Spider-Man movie's coming out. If that drops in theaters and then a week into its run, it is available on Disney Plus, that will affect sales at the theater. Duh. Like, of course it will. In the same vein, if it doesn't go to theaters, or if it goes to theaters, but day one, it's also available streaming, why would you go to the theater to buy it unless you want like the theater experience? But that's expensive. So especially if budgets are tight and you don't have a lot of money, you're probably going to go and just watch it on streaming. Like, it will affect your financial performance in the traditional format by bringing it over to streaming. And the whole idea of streaming and what makes that worth it is that you sign up and they keep you signed up so they get recurrent revenue. So if you went to the movie theater, they may only make 20, 30 bucks off of you. But if you sign up for a $10 a month subscription or a $15 a month subscription to Disney Plus, and then you keep that for 2, 3, 4 months, they're going to end up with more money than if you went to the theater. So it ends up being worth it. And they got you hooked with the one movie that you were interested in, and then they keep you subscribed forever. That's the basic premise of all of these subscription models, is that, like, yes, they'd make 70 bucks if you bought the game on Steam or on the Xbox store or whatever. But if they can get you on Game Pass, if they keep you subscribed for 4 months, plus they make more money. It's keeping people subscribed, though, that's the trickiest bit. This is the report that he referenced in that clip. Call of Duty cost $300 million dollars in lost sales. This was from Windows Central. Report: Microsoft gave up $300 million in Call of Duty sales as a result of Game Pass. So by being on Game Pass, the report suggested from Bloomberg that they gave up more than $300 million in sales on console and PCs last year, according to one of the former employees who asked not to be identified, discussing internal estimates. So Xbox's own estimates put the amount of money lost by putting it on Game Pass at $300 million. Now, you make that money back if you have $300 million worth of subscription revenue that you wouldn't have had otherwise, that is generated because those people signed up for Game Pass instead of buying it. But they have to keep their membership. They have to keep paying into it. And the other piece is, it's not pure profit when you sign up for Game Pass. Like, if you sign up for Game Pass for 15 bucks a month, 22 bucks a month, whatever it is, they're paying out to different studios based on what you're playing. So if you play Call of Duty, but then you also get hooked on Starfield and you put 100 hours into that, a big chunk of change goes out of your membership cost to, or membership dues go to BGS, into their coffers, because of their accountability margin being good by counting the hours and all that. So there's been a serious question as to, for one, whether Game Pass is sustainable long term, and two, whether or not it's been good for the industry. And I think that those are two different questions. Because of course, if you look at it one way, where it's like, okay, it's the most affordable place to play games, assuming games go there when they're relatively new, maybe not day one, but within 6 months or something, you get a massive catalog for one fee. It does make this whole catalog of games more affordable to you. So that's really good, especially for people that are financially tight. And I think that that's good. But if it's not sustainable, that will change what the product is, and that will change, therefore, whether it's actually a good value, and then everything cascades from there. If it's not sustainable, it has to change, and the way it changes might make it so it's not actually that good of a value if it's only like, you know, slop games or whatever. I think it's pretty clear in its current form, it's not sustainable. I mean, they have 3% margin as a super mature business. That doesn't work. So clearly it's not working properly. So it needs major overhauls and redesigns. What does that look like? Well, clearly they think the requirement is to bring some stuff to be exclusive on the platform, to build up the platform and do it that way. I have a sneaking suspicion that Asha wants to wind down Game Pass. I think what she might do is stop bringing first party stuff there day one, because right now, what does Xbox need? They need more profit. They need more margin. You're not getting that through Game Pass. You're going to get that through day one sales at full price. So I think she's going to slowly start to try and announce that, like, hey, these games are no longer day one on Game Pass. I think these games are going to be maybe 6 months or a year after launch, they'll end up on Game Pass. And they need to be clear about what those expectations are. That's going to lead to fewer subscriptions. People are going to cancel their memberships, absolutely. But I think that that is a more clear way forward for them than what they've been doing. The other piece is Xbox has really struggled to make games feel like moments, like beats. Even big games like Doom, The Dark Ages kind of come and go very, very quickly. And it's like kind of surprising how how just quickly they are gone. Even like what are supposed to be really big games for them that they revealed recently are not doing insane numbers. Like Senua is one of their big tentpole franchises, artsy franchises, award-winning franchises. The trailer from the Xbox Showcase did 227,000 views. That's not particularly remarkable, especially you can compare it to the trailer for the second game. Like, look how, I'm guessing a lot of people fell off after the second game was so disappointing. 2.7 million from the original Game Awards 2019 reveal that was supposed to like showcase the Series X. On their own channels, it's like under 100K, 78K. Like they're not garnering the same level of attention that you would expect it to. And I think that part of that is just because, Game Pass ends up being just this receptacle for a ton of different content, a ton of different little bitty games or big games, and then you just kind of tackle each and every single one whenever you get the chance. But it struggles to make games feel like big beats, marketing beats, which is a really difficult thing to change. Short game, short lifespan. Yeah, well, and it's also, in order to keep something like Game Pass interesting and engaging for people, you have to have pretty steady content drops. And so you have to have a lot of games coming out, which is why they bought so many studios. But by its very nature, when you have to release 20 games in a year into the platform, and you're trying to give each one a little marketing beat, 20 individual beats make each and every single one feel less dramatic. If you have 20 little, it makes every single individual seem less profound and less significant. So overall, I just think like there's no easy way to deal with it. My suspicion is that Asha wants to try and pivot away from Game Pass, but Satya might be married to that idea because he really likes Game Pass. He likes subscription model revenue because it's regular. But I just don't know how that works. I mean, as analysts have said for a long time, Game Pass is one of those systems, just like streaming with Netflix and with everything else. It either eats the entire industry and becomes the standard, or it dies. Like, there's not really much middle ground because it doesn't seem like they can coexist very easily. And that's why there's a lot of brand confusion right now too, where it's like, okay, I can buy your game on Xbox's store, but then I can also get it through Game Pass, but I can only get it through Game Pass at this time, and I can also only get it in this edition. If I want the other edition, I have to pay another $35, and it gets really convoluted, really, really convoluted. So anyway, I don't know what the long-term outlook is going to be like, but I think the most clear short-term thing is that Asha's gonna shut down studios, lay off a bunch of people, try to downsize. They're going to double down on the big franchises and try to make each of those a real beat and a real moment. And they also have to find a way to get people excited to buy games and to play games day one at full price. And that means probably longer marketing campaigns, more deep dive reveals, more marketing spend, and also probably, honestly, it means really reevaluating what it looks like on Game Pass. Because again, I think for them right now, the name of the game is just get money in the door. And you can get a lot more money in the door short term by selling like full copies as opposed to subscriptions. Subscriptions pay off after 4, 5, 6 months, not necessarily like day one, Yeah. USA indeed. Suck it, Australia. We love you, but you are you guys are just funny. You guys are silly. Arnar, the US scored a goal. I don't know how Australians would say goal. Digital Foundry confirms ray traced reflections are being used in the Central Bay water in Vice City shot. They note that the missing Ferris wheel reflection is either ray tracing quirk or deliberate omission for performance reasons. So they just like cull out the Ferris wheel specifically for ray tracing. That's interesting. I mean, you can tell by the little like shimmer in the shadows that it's probably ray traced just at like quarter resolution or something. The Ferris wheel missing a reflection is interesting. I don't really know why. It might be, I was going to say maybe they cull out because it looks like they're not reflecting the light sources. They're not ray tracing the light sources in the buildings. So it might just be that any light source is being culled out and not reflected. And as a result, the Ferris wheel, which the entire frame of it seems to be lit up, that ends up being culled so you don't see it. Interesting. Interesting. It's on console. Yes. Dude. Yes. I'll believe it when I see it running on a Series S. Dude. Hold on. Hold on. I can simulate the Series S. We can do it live. I've done this before, but just so you guys can see what it's going to look like on Series S. Hold on. Let me bring in my data analysis tool, my Series S simulator tool. Okay. Okay. It's loading. It's loading. Okay, new file. There we go. Yeah, let's go here. Full frame. Okay. So this is the frame. This is the frame. Okay. This is what it looks like on the PS5. Okay. Everybody tracking? Everybody tracking. Okay, this is it on the PS5. Okay. Now I have to go in and I have to specifically add in my Series S filter. Here we go. So this is PS5, and then Series S. PS5, Series S. Now, if you want Series S performance mode, that's a separate thing. Series S performance mode is a little extra, but this is Series S performance mode. If you want quality mode, not bad. It's so stupid. Oh God. I do personally, I really wonder what it's gonna run like. I really do wonder, because I don't know, man. There's no way it looks good, right? Like there's no way. Like there's no way. I think the Series S is a great little piece of hardware. I love this picture, by the way. I think the Series S is a great piece of hardware in many, many ways. And in a lot of ways, I think it was before its time. I think it came too early. I think if it launched with next generation, it would be praised uproariously, because a lot of people would be like, finally, a budget console that I can afford. But unfortunately, it came out when money was really cheap and everybody was getting stimmy checks and stuff. So it kind of gets a bad rep. And it has, no doubt, I mean, it's the weakest link in the chain. It has definitely affected overall performance for the generation. But yeah, it came too soon. Too soon. Short. I do think it's edited, actually. I know that's going to be surprising. It is. I think it is edited. Todd is a smaller fella, but I don't think he's that small. Todd Howard, Troy Baker. Actually,
alongside one of our most talented performers, and they've teamed up for the newly released.
Dude,
celebrate.
Okay, so the height difference is actually okay. No, they had his head at his shoulder, so he's not that little. He's not that little. Hold on. He's not that little. They definitely did a little work on this picture, but hey, it's it's funny. But there is a gap. I will say, I saw Troy. I wasn't able to say hi to him, but I saw Troy at Summer Games Fest. You know when like you see somebody who's got they're either famous or rich or both, and they show up wearing clothes that look like pajamas. That's Troy. He showed up in this like beautiful, it looked like it was just flowing kind of beige clothes. It looked like the most comfortable thing ever. Almost like, you know, silk you wear on the beach. It was like that kind of outfit. And I was like, bro, if I wore that, I would think I was in my pajamas. You know, it was just so funny. Bro has Nephilim genetics. What does that even mean? Troy, I had a question for you. Do you have Nephilim genetics? Do you have Nephilim genetics? Hold on. So this, to make it like the photo, it has to be his head is like at his shoulder, which would, oh my God. Okay. I messed this up. Okay, so it would be like lower him down here. Okay, just fill that in. Okay, give it a second. We're doing it live. We're doing it live. But then they took everything and then just lowered it down to like there. That's about what they did. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. Honestly, it was pretty good. I still love the photo. I still love the photo. It's really good. Cute little guy. Now put the S filter on it. Oh. Okay. Hold on. We have to get rid of these little edges. Can I just do this? Yeah. Okay. There we go. Honestly. There you go. This is so stupid. Luke, why doesn't Xbox like you? Why don't they call you more? I don't know, man. I don't know. It is really, really weird. And then the Series S filter. There you go. We did it. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Oh, but it's funny. It's funny though. Oh my God. Anyway. Yeah, Xbox is gonna lay me off next. Sorry, not sorry. We have more fun here anyways. Who cares? Okay. We talked about that. Okay. Call me asparagus.
Call me asparagus.
Yeah. Call me asparagus. Hell yeah. Okay. I think I got through that. Let me double check my notes. Oh yeah, there was this too. In case you missed it. So they put out a big letter on what the future of Unreal Engine is going to be and broke this down, and the head of Epic Games also talked about it. But long story short, they want to make Unreal Engine the ultimate platform for everything. And he sees the future of gaming as basically like Roblox meets Fortnite. Like that's kind of what the vision is. But the other thing that they mentioned right here, for Unreal Engine 6, we see LLMs, generative AI models, and tools like Claude and Codex playing a central role in helping you build content faster while maintaining the creative control you need. A big part of our effort is going into exposing a broad set of engine capabilities through the MCP model or protocol. MCP protocol, as they refer to it, this is the model context protocol, where basically you can have different AI tools like work with different buckets of information or data. So like it's not super helpful, but you can see that like you can have the chat interface working with the standardized protocol to go between different file systems, different development sets and tool sets, productivity tools. And so the protocol allows all of it to talk to each other and work together. But they're going to use that so that developers can mix and match the best leading edge models and build custom integrations of all sorts of on an open Unreal Engine 6 MCP foundation. We're also improving Epic Developer Assistant as an optional turnkey solution available to all by default. I think, honestly, like one of the reasons that they're doing this in this way is specifically to like break those AI disclosures on Steam. Maybe this is like tinfoil hat, but like, you know how the whole thing is, oh, you have to disclose if AI was used with your game. Well, if your game was made with Unreal Engine, yes, it's using this protocol. You don't have to use the tools, but they're saying that they're going to have these like LLMs and stuff eventually like integrated directly into the engine as part of the development process. So every game, Unreal Engine, Unity is starting to do it too. All of these engines, if your game uses it, you'd have to check that box on Steam. You know? Like, I think it's just the goal, instead of like, oh, make it so people actually love it, it's just make it everywhere so that people can't complain. And, you know, when it's everywhere, it ends up feeling like it's nowhere because it's just the norm, right? This is real serious. This is the type of hard-hitting Photoshop journalism, I added Photoshop, that I've come to expect. Thank you for always raising the bar, Luke. Jason Schreier wishes he was this insightful. Yeah, I think he wishes he could he could add the pixelate effect as quickly as I can. But that's what you get when you come to a Luke Stevens live stream. Tell you what, I always try to provide something different, something fresh. For Microsoft, they are allowed to strip Bethesda of Fallout and are they allowed to strip Bethesda of Fallout and give it to another dev? If so, why have they not done so? Todd can't be that strong. So, Matherman, the question is a good one. New mini segment thing. Matherman says, for Microsoft, are they allowed to strip Bethesda of Fallout and give it to another dev? If so, why have they not done so? Todd can't be that strong. Well, never doubt the power of a highly motivated man. I think that, honestly, what it is that for a long time, Phil Spencer's approach was hands off. Don't mess with devs. Let them do what they're doing. They're game developers. I run the business. You guys do your thing. I'll do mine. That was his approach. That got him into trouble a few times, as we saw. Redfall famously, the devs reportedly were wanting Phil Spencer to show up and like shut down the game. They didn't want to make it, which is wild. That apparently, according to reports, Redfall developers were hoping that Phil Spencer would come in, shut down the game, and allow them to go work on like a sequel to Prey or something. But he had this approach of, I don't get involved. So he never did. And they had to finish it, and it was a disaster. And similarly, there's been other projects where he's been hands off, probably to a fault, and they should have known that there were issues about like with these things well in advance. I think it's good for an executive to be hands off, to understand that they're not the developers and they shouldn't make game design decisions. Just like the head of a freaking movie production studio probably shouldn't be reviewing each and every single individual script, because he's not a script writer, you know, that's not his strong suit. However, there is a certain level of oversight that should be existent, especially strategically. Like, you should be able to see that this game doesn't make sense, or we should be doing this game. We shouldn't be doing this live service thing. We should be doing this. And that's where, you know, executive oversight should land. As for Fallout specifically, I think that for years and years, Phil's approach was to trust Todd and what Todd said. Todd's approach was, leave it to me, leave it to Beaver, and I'm going to get to it when I get to it. And the longer we wait, the bigger that moment will be. When we have Fallout 5, it'll be this massive moment, first Fallout game in 20 years. People will be so excited. And that was Phil's approach as well. The reporting and leaks and rumors suggest that in the last few years, though, there are some other Fallout projects in the works, specifically a Fallout 3 remake and a potentially New Vegas remake or remaster. But the New Vegas one allegedly has only like started in the last year or so, which is also crazy. But it seems like that was more born out of the Fallout show being more successful than they expected, which is wild that they didn't know that would be successful, but that's a separate issue. So I think more than anything, it's that Phil had a generalized approach of don't tell the developers, especially the successful ones like Todd, who love him or hate him. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to make his games sell well, generate a lot of discourse and interest, and build a hype cycle. He knows what he's doing. So if Todd says, leave it to me, that was Phil's approach, was to leave it. I don't think Asha operates the same way. I think Asha is like, bitch, we're not waiting 20 years. What are we doing? It's our biggest IP. Why would we sit on it for 2 decades? You dumbass. Like, I think she's like, what are we doing? So I think she's trying to expedite it. That's what the reports say, is that she's trying to expedite Elder Scrolls and Fallout. I think that's easier said than done, though. It's a lot easier to say, we want to hurry it up. We want to, like, man, she's so disrespectful. Can't believe she said that. Yeah. I think you can say expedite it, hurry up, but I mean, it's easier said than done. These things still operate on mega time cycles that are years and years long. And honestly, do you really want a rushed Fallout game? Probably not. But I think that's why more realistically, what's going to happen is that it'll get handed to another studio for like New Vegas style spin-off. I think you'll see some stuff like that. That would be my guess. That'd be my guess. I just think that at this point, I think that they don't have the luxury of taking their time with everything. Like, again, we knew that Xbox was in trouble. We didn't know how bad it was. Like, and when I say it's bad, I mean, like, seriously, they basically have straight up leprosy at this point. Like, Xbox is so sick. We're past the point of antibiotics and ibuprofen. Like, at this point, they need to be getting the chainsaw and hacksaw and the axe and start chopping. Like, they are in serious trouble financially. And given that, beggars can't be choosers. And in this spot, you do have a couple of lifelines and massive IP that can generate a lot of money. Let's be honest, if today they shadow dropped Fallout 3 Remastered, that would bring in hundreds of millions. If they shadow dropped a New Vegas remake, that was good. Hundreds of millions overnight. The fact that they don't have those ready is insane, because they should have a long time ago. But again, it was just Phil's philosophical decision to be uninvolved and to not tell his teams exactly what to do, which I can admire. And I as an employee of Phil, I think I would appreciate that. Yeah, he's not getting involved. He's not micromanaging us. It's great. But that works when everything is functioning. You know, when the ship is sailing just fine, the captain can be chill. But if the ship starts to sink, the captain needs to figure out what the hell is going wrong and probably start yelling at some people to do this and do that to get it fixed. And at this point, Xbox has like 5 feet of water in the hole. And the new captain just got on board and is like, what do you mean you have patches, but you've not put them in? What are we doing? Go. Like, that's basically where they're at. And I don't envy her position, because part of that process is like massive layoffs and restructurings that frankly probably should have happened a while ago. But that's part of the job, man. Part of the job. Jay, thank you for the 5. It shouldn't take a decade to make something as bad as Starfield, or a year to make a week's amount of an update that will break the game further. I agree. And that's part of the reason why I'm like, guys, do you really want Bethesda to expedite your game? Like, do you want them to rush it out the door? Probably not. Probably not. but I don't think they'll have much of a choice. So I'm very curious what's going to happen. But I think more than likely, it's probably like spin-off stuff. She's going to throw a bunch of money at Virtuos to expedite the Fallout New Vegas remake, remaster. They'll put 500 people on it, crank it out in a year or two, and just get some hustle on. That's kind of what I'm expecting. That's my expectation. Because I think she's probably talked to them, and Todd's been like, we can put more people on Elder Scrolls 6. It's still not ready until 2028. Like, we can't scale up in that way. Because you can't. Ross McGowan, thank you for the 2 thoughts on Black Ops 1 and 2 going to PS4 and PS5. I talk about quick cash drops. I mean, if you can just get some quick cash by dropping stuff, like, that's, again, seriously, when we say that they are financially in like dire straits, I'm not joking about that. Like, they are in serious trouble. So they need money. They just need money. You just need money. And that's, however they can get that quick cash grabs, that's what they're doing. They're doing the equivalent of working an extra job on the weekends just to get by. That's where they're at now. Walter, thank you for that one. Walter, if I had to guess, GTA Online will be locked under a subscription. I'm an hour behind the stream, had to pause. So for me, you just talked about it online. Well, that makes sense, Walter. And by the time you see this, in about an hour, this will make sense, hopefully. I do think that that's very, very likely. I think they already have, don't they have GTA Plus or whatever, which is a subscription? I think they already have that, but they might do... Yeah. Yes, they do. GTA Plus. So they already have a subscription model. And it gets you like in-game currency. It gets you all sorts of stuff, discounts and different things, skins. But they already have that. I would expect they're going to charge for it and have the subscription model. Why not both? Why not both? Why not charge you and then charge you when you can do both, Satya wants to push Microsoft towards full PC gaming. Xbox brand is no longer viable to his future plans. Well, I think that was his idea, was Microsoft gaming. That went horribly. And then they pivoted back. So Satya seems to have a lot of confidence in Asha, and has given her the keys to the kingdom and is telling her to save it. Otherwise, he'll shut it down. And I think that that's what she's trying to do. I don't think you pivot back to Xbox, rebranding everything around there, if your plan is to just pivot back to Microsoft gaming, Microsoft PC gaming, or whatever they were trying to do. It seemed like towards the end of Phil Spencer's tenure, Phil kind of gave up resisting Satya and just started doing what Satya wanted. And then it got way worse, way faster, and it just snowballed, got really bad. Luke, I don't understand, says Bungie with 5. Thank you. I don't understand how Bungie is going to sustain itself from Marathon alone for the next few years with the game averaging 11K daily peaks. I also don't know how that works. But I do think they're going to lay off like 400 people is what it's expected to be. They're going to lay off a ton of people and figure out what the hell they're going to do next. But I agree. I mean, with if you add on console players, they're probably at like 20,000 concurrents at any given time max. That doesn't work. Like that, those numbers don't work for a 400 person team. Like even after the layoffs, 400 people, that doesn't take a genius to figure out that that doesn't make sense. And my brother, Timmy, he loves Marathon, plays a ton of it. He's got a whole like friend group specifically that plays that regularly and grinds it. I asked him like, have you spent money in it? Have your friends spent money in it? Just like anecdotally. And he's like, no, there's not really anything to buy. He's like, nobody cares. He's like, I don't really see paid skins. I don't really see any of that stuff. No. So he's like one of the only people I know that plays a lot of it, and he's like, no, it doesn't seem to be making much money. So I don't know what the hell their plan is, but we'll find out soon enough. I don't think Sony knows what they're doing yet. It's just a confused mess. Let's see. I read that one. Real Serious, thank you again for that one. I'm glad to provide hard-hitting pixelated journalism. Matherman, thank you for that super chat again. Jay Lamahara, I think. Thank you for the 5. It shouldn't take a decade. Oh, I did read that one. Yes, I agree. And then Wallet, the great thing for that, they didn't think the follow show would be successful. Yeah, it seems like they don't think at all these days. Also, just wrote my finals, done with Unity. Really? Congratulations, my friend. You've done it. Congratulations. That's awesome. And as for thinking, I mean, it seems like they're just, you know, when somebody's in the deep end and they can barely swim and they're just like, they're not focused on form. They're not focused on it. They're just trying to keep their nose above water. I think that's where Xbox has been for the last few years, is just trying to stay afloat and not instantly drown. And that's where they are. Yeah, that's where they are. Oh, I missed all these. Hold on. Mickey Garspard, thank you for the 5. Hey, Luke, just finished The Witcher 1. Even though I was 2 when it came out, I enjoyed it a lot. I'm excited to play 2 and 3. Can't wait for 4. Oh, baby, dude, you're in for a treat. Dubber Squad, thank you for the 10. Can't wait to play Gears E-Day on PS5 because they ain't making that money back on Xbox and PC, especially when it's day one on Game Pass. Asha, just be yapping. I think they need a clearer vision for what they're doing, because as of right now, the case-by-case thing, what are we doing? Like, just be very clear. Single player games going to console exclusively on Xbox and then on PC. And if it's multiplayer, it goes everywhere. Do what PlayStation's doing. That's very clear, easy to understand. Single player is exclusive, multiplayer everywhere. Easy to understand. This like case by case, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't thing. It doesn't fix anything. It's like part of the feeling that's led to people bailing on Xbox as a platform is that there's no clear understanding of what's happening, and saying that you're going to keep doing stuff case by case doesn't help that. You got to have like an actual rule, like break it down. You're going to do an actual segment breaking down the E-Day Direct. I want to do a big E-Day thing. I'm hearing rumblings of stuff that might be happening soon-ish for that. And that will inform how I approach it. But yes, I want to do a deep dive breaking down Gears of War in general. I was going to look closer at the gameplay reveals and stuff today, but we kind of got sidetracked because they revealed more at Unreal Fest. Are you going to stream next Thursday? Yeah, that's the goal, because also I'm expecting a new trailer on Thursday. That's my guess. Chinosario, thank you for the 5. Luke, your opinion on the new Gears of War budget being close to over 400 million? That worries me, especially with 2-3 week time frame is stacked. Well, there's that, but then this morning somebody was saying that it's not. Like that budget is not accurate. Where is it? Where is it? Who said it? Someone. Oh, it was Jez. So Tom Henderson said that it was over $400 million. Jez Corden says it did not cost $400 million. It's been removed. Interesting. So apparently, from what Jez said in the clip that's now been removed for some reason, oh, they banned him as a source. That's funny. That's funny. No, apparently they say maybe 400 million might be real, but it wasn't just spent on E-Day, so that might include other titles that were in that budget. So I will say 400 million is for me, it was an unbelievable number raw. Like, I think that if that includes marketing spend, if that includes support work that they did, so like the studio also has helped with other studios within Xbox that use Unreal Engine, because the coalition are like wizards with it. If that's what's being referred to, like that's just how much it costs to operate the studio during a certain window, that could be it. But as for the specific budget for this specific game, 400 million, I would be very surprised if that was the actual cost. But we'll see. It also has a multiplayer and single player component. Yeah, that could also be how it's divvied up. But yeah, the $400 million number is wild. And if that is really how much it costs, that's remarkable. But yeah, it's definitely something that I'd be surprised to see if if that's what it is. Okay. Where did I leave off? Okay. As for how much it actually costs, I mean, either way, it's very expensive. It's probably like still, even if it's not 400, if it's 300, that's still crazy. If it's 200, that's still crazy. Like, it still is an incredibly expensive game, no doubt. Which is wild, but that's where we're at. It's like, even if this is off by like double, the budget is still 200 million, and that's still wild. So it's still very, very expensive. Chevet, counting croc teeth is more pedantic than in any Austin video. I will say counting alligator teeth in a or in a box art is a new level that I did not expect to reach. Ken, thank you for that one. Can't wait to not afford this game. Being Canadian, I do feel for the Canadians and the Australian gaming friends, because you guys have quite the currency conversion issue. It's pretty wild. Whenever I'm like, oh, things are so expensive, I just look at Australian pricing and I'm like, actually, things aren't that bad. I know, obviously, like, you know, your minimum wages and your wages in general are different, so it's not 1-to-1, but obviously, like, you see how much somebody in Australia has to pay for a game and you're like, whoa. You know, oh my god. RPG veteran, I already took 2 weeks off from the office. Ooh, baby. Oh, for GTA 6. That's funny. And I don't think you're alone. I think a lot of people have done that or will do that. Wesley, why doesn't GTA launch on PC? Because I think it's really tough to optimize for console as is already. And let's be honest, PC has a bit of a piracy concern. And they just don't want to deal with that if they don't have to. So there's that. I think also, and this is maybe the biggest point, they can double dip. There's a lot of people who will buy it on console and then buy it again on PC when it launches there. Why not double dip, baby? Why not double dip? If you know, like, hey, we could expedite, spend a ton of money, launch them at the same time, or we could just release it like a year later and then double dip. Get 2 copies sold. Because like if I play it day one on PS5, a year later to be able to play it on PC, yeah, I'm probably getting it again. I mean, why not? But that's why you got to give it time. Like put a full year between releases. That's probably what they're going to do. People who are like, I think it comes to PC in January. I don't think so. I think they're going to launch online exclusive on consoles, and then it's going to come to PC later as well. But yeah, I think it's going to be all console at least for a year, and then PC is probably spring of 2028 is when I would expect to start seeing stuff. And I'm saying that as a PC master racer. Like, I love PC gaming. I prefer it on PC. I'm just going to be real. I'm not expecting GTA 6 on PC until 2028. It's just, maybe that's cynical, of maybe that's what I'm expecting. Let's see. Jake, thank you for that one. Do you think online will be cross-platform? I think so. And then Spoofman, thank you for the 5. Sending support, Control Resident previews look fantastic. I did read that one earlier. Yes, I do remember that one. Let's see. Okay, I read that one. Warped Space, thank you for the 10. That clip of GTA 6 low resolution and badly compressed in order for it to work better on the Rockstar website. The final game will not look anywhere near that bad. Just a showcase of the city. Yeah, I mean, it's I don't remember what the file name is for that to put it embedded in the website with HTML, but it's, yeah, it is not a 4K raw video for sure. It's only going to look better, but even then it looks very, very good. Again, for a base PS5 or for a PS5 version of the game, it looks very good. Real serious thing for 13 months. Starfield screenshots kind of look like those naughty visual novels with 3D character models. You know the type. Don't pretend you don't. No idea what you're talking about. No idea what you're talking about. No idea what you're talking about. Nerdy Giant, thank you for that. 10. What's the likelihood of June 25th being more than just being able to pre-order the game? I'm hoping a small event or video of gameplay, then maybe editions shown off. I think it's going to be another trailer number 3, and I think it's going to more clearly outline the story, show some more gameplay snippets specifically, probably like a 3-minute trailer or so. I know there's rumors going around that it might be a full 20-minute reveal with like actual gameplay that's less edited, like, 30-second, 40-second clips. Maybe. They say they're doing things that are unprecedented that they haven't done before with marketing. So never say never. It's possible, but that could happen. As for what I think else we'll see, I think we'll see editions shown off, pricing shown off, pre-orders will open, and they're going to use the trailer as a big marketing push to get pre-orders up. So I think absolutely. Chevet, watching this and thinking about Bethesda claiming only Creation Engine can do what they need. Oh, for the reveal of No Law. Yeah, No Law looks cool, but we learn from Cyberpunk. Yes. As always, be cautious. As always. Mission Select YouTube, thank you for the membership, by the way, my friend. Thank you. Sneaky Pickle also 8 months. Thank you. Luke, just a reminder, you said you're going to talk about new membership stuff this week. Yes, I was initially going to have just one members only piece of content ready for you when we did the full launch reveal thing. And then I talked with Trevor. I was like, actually, I want a wider variety. I want to break it up. Let's have some more. So Trevor is working right now as we speak on editing that members only content, and the goal has shifted ever so slightly. Monday, the 22nd, we're going to do the full reveal of what the vision is, including, I believe we will have 3 brand new members only videos available to members on Luke Stevens Live. And the goal is every single week, we're going to have new members only content dropping so that people have more incentive to be members and also get rewarded if they are a member, instead of just like a badge, you get some more stuff. And it should be good. And the idea is to basically make more evergreen content. So it's not going to be like, let's talk about the news this week in a members only video. It's going to be stuff like, I'll give you a little sneak peek. There is a game that I was like, oh, I'd like to try that, but I don't think it will like do well on like a main channel video. But it is like right up my alley, called Amenti, and it is, or Amentai, I'm not sure. It is a horror game that's themed around ancient Egypt, where you're like climbing through tombs and stuff. So we filmed an I Tried video that is going to be completely original, exclusive to members for supporting, and we put that up. So like that's just one of the things we're doing, and the idea is that we can do content that wouldn't normally fit on any one of the individual channels, but we can give it as like a little perk for everybody. So there you go. It's a good time. So yes, we will do the full reveal of all of that on Monday. It'll be good. It's just our way of saying thank you. And to be clear, this will be available to people who get gifted memberships, and then also people who are just members. We looked at trying to break it up more broadly to like, because I know some people will try to do like memberships through their own website or whatever. That just always seemed like such a headache, and YouTube has a lot of tools for that. So we're doing it this way through YouTube memberships. Twitch subs will get access to the Discord. The Discord still will function the way that it does, but there's going to be some stuff that, because of just how it works, will be locked to YouTube, because it's just how it works. Okay. Yes. Is this one that mimics your voice? No, that's actually, I think a few of them do. This one is more purist ancient Egyptian horror game, and they did a pretty good job with it. It's clearly like a small team, and they've done some other ones. These guys also did like The Light Keeper, which is a horror game all about being a light keeper in a lighthouse, which is, they're very short games. They're just little tidbits, little things, but they're a vibe and just wacky and fun. So like that's just one of the things, but we have a bunch of series and a bunch of things that we want to do. That will be a cool way to say thank you and give back to everybody. But having said that, the videos won't go up on Discord for Twitch subs. Right now, the goal is to try to syndicate everything across the Discord. The Discord is going to be like the hub. So members will see like the members only videos in their feed. So like it'll be like in your YouTube algorithm, it'll show up for you. So it'll be a more seamless experience. My understanding is that we'll be able to upload the link to the video on the Discord. So if you're on Twitch, it won't show up in your feed because you're not like a member tied to your YouTube account. It won't show up like that, but you should be able to still see it as a sub, but only through the Discord, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? So you should get access to it. It just won't show up organically within your algorithm on YouTube, if that makes sense. Nice Ultramarine figure. Thank you, my friend. Sent by the lovely people over at Weta, actually, I believe, are the ones behind it. Let me see if I can find it. Yes. Yes, this is it closer. It weighs like 80 freaking pounds. It's very heavy. It's okay, not actually 80 pounds. It's like 40, but because it's all resin. But this is what it looks like up close. But yeah, that's the statue. You can swap out the head and the hands and do all sorts of different stuff. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Do I have 2 watches on? No, this is like a health tracker, and then this is a watch. 40k pounds. Exactly. In members only streams, will you be drinking new flavors of candle? You can't tell people who aren't members. You have to keep it secret. There's a reason it's called members only. They don't get to know about the candle flavors. You're on thin ice. Oh, golly. Xbox Series X for GTA 6? I wouldn't. No, I'd be very surprised if they revealed it like on Series S before launch. I have a feeling they're not going to show what it looks like running on there. I'm just going to be real. I don't think they're going to want to put that out there. They should. That's what they should do, but I don't think they will. Yeah. Yeah, first rule of Candle Club, don't tell people about Candle Club. Exactly. Thoughts on Ari Veronica? Dude, I'm very interested in it. I think it's going to be baller, but literally the entire trailer that they showed, if you remember, Ari Veronica. This entire trailer is all first person. The producer told us when we were in LA that the game will be exclusively third person. They literally made a first person rig to record this scene exclusively so that the final reveal would be more surprising. But none of this will be in the game like this. It's a bold move. So like we literally don't know what the game will look like because like in terms of like even camera angles and stuff, because literally none of this is going to work this way, which is wild, but there you go. We even asked him, we're like, so is there going to be a toggle like in Requiem where like we can go first person or third person? He's like, no, third person. I don't know. It's a bold move to do all that just for the reveal, but there you go. I'm excited for it though. I think it'll be cool. They just keep hitting it out of the park. This could also be a cutscene. It could be. They could intro it this way and then transition to third person for stuff. But we'll see. I read that one. For me to enjoy. Thank you for the sub, my friend, over on Twitch. Thank you, my friend. Warhammer 40k is just Warhammer 3 battles with 4 map regions, more than 2. Hell yeah. Sure. Why not? Let's see. I've seen people playing State of Decay 3. Yeah, people seem to like it. Look at Larian Studios' post about Jeff Keighley. They said something. Oh, this one. Yeah, they zoomed in on the they zoomed in on the starting menu and said that it looks like Jeff Keighley. And it does, honestly. I don't know if this is a mod or what, but yeah, apparently this is. That's John Larian. Sure looks like it. Welcome to Baldur's Gate. Welcome. It is funny. It is pretty funny because it does look just like him. I don't know if that was intentional, but I mean, it looks so much like him. Surely it was, you know. I'm shocked that it took this long to find it, if that is real. Welcome to Highguard. Welcome. Gears E-Day's live service. Does Xbox know this? Yes. No. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what they know anymore. Same Deadites too. It's because this is the exact moment he found out that Highguard was shutting down. That's actually what this is. That's why he looks like that. Okay, my friends, I'm going to call it there. I've got to film some extra stuff because we have some videos coming down the pipeline. I'm going to call it there. Thank you for chilling with me. Thank you for being wonderful. Like I said, we're going to be back Monday. I'm going to do the full reveal of what we're doing for members only stuff and give you the rundown there. And we should have some stuff to talk about. That should be fun. Okay. It's going to be a good time. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe as always. We will be back. Go USA in the World Cup. And we'll chat soon. Okay. Much love. See you soon. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye. Mwah.